Hi everyone, welcome to another Escapement Show. We've got Abdul on my left and we've got on my, is it my left?
On the bottom.
Okay.
Say it, on the bottom.
Yeah, Abdul R Watches. Check out his YouTube channel, it's a great channel. And on the bottom we've got Jonathan Quayle Higgins himself. I mean, we're talking world time watches today, and he's had an amazing article published on his customized Benjamin Chi and Sven Anderson watch recently. Tell us a bit about that, Jonathan. We'll come to your watch. It's going to be the final watch we come to. So okay. I'll post the article in the chat when we come to it. But tell us a bit about it quickly. Yeah.
I'm afraid that I'm boring everyone to death because I've been repeating this story now over and over, and Mr. GMT is cursing me for having nothing else to talk about than my world timer. But I truly love it, and I still love the project and the development of it. So what do you want to know? How I started, or what is the special customization?
About the article. How did the article go with monochrome? How did that go?
Oh, fantastic! I couldn't participate with the last Escapement Show because I was virtually on the road, and I was really exhausted. So this article was in the making for almost a year.
Wow.
I reached out to Monochrome when I ordered the watch. I just wanted to say thank you because I've discovered that BCHH World Timer, or Celestial Voyager, which is properly called, I discovered it on Monochrome, and I just dropped them a message to thank them for covering those crazy watches because, for example, Hodinkee doesn't do that. So I thanked them, and I asked them if they would be interested in featuring this special watch in an article. And immediately they reached out to me. They gave me a catalog with questions. Half of them I couldn't reply to because the watch was not ready. So I couldn't say a lot, but we kept in touch. So basically, it works like you're getting a question catalog on a Word document. You fill it out, you send it back. Then they kind of juice it up or make it a little bit nicer because the Germans have a very boring and rough language, and the way I'm putting it in English must be really boring to everyone. So the writer spiced it up, then returned it to me. I made some amendments, some additions. It went back to the writer. The writer made it a little bit nicer. And then the third time was when the watch was ready, so I could fill in the blanks. Wow. Send it back for final adjustments. And last Friday, I was meeting the founder and editor-in-chief of Monochrome. His name is Frank. He's from the Netherlands, and we met halfway in a very nice restaurant. He bought me lunch. We were talking watches. Actually, we didn't talk a lot about the world timer. He wanted to do pictures, but we were talking about watches in general, just like some watch nerds are doing. And he took some pictures. So that was the final touch for the article. And yesterday evening or night, the article was published.
Excellent. And you're going to feature, don't forget everyone, the Swiss and John show tonight. There's going to be a Swiss and John show, and I think you're going to feature that on the article on that tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I'm going to touch it when the guests and when the audience wants it. I think the watch has been covered now multiple times.
Multiple times
on our channel,
different channels. Yeah.
Also on our channel, but you have to keep in mind in the Monochrome article there was a link to the Swiss and John show, and I've noticed that I gained already 25 new subscribers. So probably those come from the Monochrome article, and they're not really familiar with the Swiss and John show.
That's great. Yeah.
So the question is, how much should I repeat? How much information I should give out?
That's great. Yeah, I'd just like to say JCB's out with his beautiful wife for dinner tonight, so he's joining us later on. And I'd just like to say hi to a few of the people in the chat. We've got Bill. Good to see you, Bill. D-Time Love Show. Hi there, Mike Kumbare. Mason One, as always, stalwart viewer. He's going to be watching the Liverpool match, though, as well. We've got Russell 996. Good to see you as always, Russell. And Curtis Hahn, my friend. He's watching from South California. Wow, he's up late. It's 3:30 in the morning there. So thank you so much for staying up, Curtis.
Hi everyone.
Pleasure to have you. Yeah, so we'll crack it. Yeah, world timers fall into different watch category, fall into the travel watch category, of course. Nobody needs to keep track of 3 time zones, as people can use their phones and the internet and make making this complication fairly irrelevant. However, there's a certain romance of having a mechanical device on your wrist that provides so much useful information, even if there are easier ways to get it. And the world timer complication was created by Louis Cotier in 1932, and I think that was, I don't know whether he was that was for Patek Philippe, or whether he designed it and then Patek Philippe took it off it, paid for it to be taken from him.
So if I know the story correctly, he used to work for Patek Philippe.
Right.
And
okay.
then he left the company. And I think the patent has been developed during his time with Patek Philippe.
Right.
And,
okay.
And he was supplying Patek Philippe and others with this module, or with his patented construction for many years.
Right. Yeah, it's a classic complication that shows 24 time zones around the world, usually, and a single glance. And our show, we don't just like to stick with the high-end watches. We'd like to go through all watches. So there's going to be some very budget watches to start off with. So please stick with us until we get to the horology. So we'll crack on and start with some more budget world timers that you can, sort of, if you want to enter that space, you can do so. And of course, for $30 or $19 on offer on Amazon, you can get the Casio World Time, a digital quartz, hours, minutes, seconds, day, date, alarm, stopwatch world time with multi-time zones, LED backlight. For a little more than an F91W, this has an alarm and most of all a world time map, and comes on a plastic or metal bracelet, and I prefer to a chunky G-Shock or Mudmaster, especially at that price.
Thomas, do you know if they highlight the certain time zone on this virtual world map? How does it work? Is that world map segmented, or is it just a map that it shows?
I don't know. I think it's just a map that it shows for that money. Yeah, they're not going to. I don't know whether it might highlight certain times when you go to certain zones. I haven't looked that too much into it.
Because the reason why I'm asking is I used to have a kind of desk calculator clock from Casio that also had this kind of world map, and it was segmented. And being a young man who had no travel experience out of Europe, I was always dreaming about going to the US. So I really enjoyed looking at those world maps and just dream about going to New York or to San Francisco or to Hawaii when it was featured on the map. So that was this kind of mind traveling that also brought me into those world timers and those world map dials, because maybe we get later to that point. Benjamin Shi said it very rightly. you have those maps for the purpose that you travel in your mind over the world. And this is such a romantic idea, regardless of the functional aspect. It's just you have this map in front of you, and you're dreaming about traveling. And what nicer can you dream of? I apologize for the long monologue.
Yeah, hi Kevin Hawthorne. Good to see you as always, my friend. And Muhammad Ali, good to see you. Nice to see you, my friend.
Ali. Good to see you here.
Yeah, so we lost Abdul for a minute. I think his Wi-Fi must be packing up, but he'll pop back. So we'll get rid of the Casio World Time. We've talked about that, and we'll step on quickly through some more. And next up is the Jungens Meister World Timer. This is a 1,690 euros. A minimalist, elegant, retro, and accessible multi-time world zone watch.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you. That Casio LCD watch, it has segments. So how it works is the background is the full map of the world, and then there are LCD segments highlighted on top. So you can really travel in your mind, even with this $40 Casio LCD watch. I apologize.
Right. No, that's fine. That's good information. We need it. Yeah, Jungens has been building clocks and watches in Germany's Black Forest for the last 60 years, and they were founded in 1861 and managed to become the largest clockmaker in the world at the beginning of the 20th century. The Meister World Timer features a bowl-shaped case with highly domed crystal on top. The case is 40.4 millimeters in diameter and 10.5 millimeters thick. The matte silver dial features fair arch cutouts and a grey disc underneath, and the 24-hour display with white and black to differentiate between AM and PM. The narrowed vertical line for each time zone with the cities printed in black and beige, and 24-hour ring is adjusted by twisting the crown clockwise. This watch uses a Sleater, modified Sleater 330.1, and without the date function, and the disc under the dial instead of a GMT hand. Based on an ETA 2893-1 clone with a 42 hours power reserve. 4 different case styles, and this one is a gold PVD coated steel case. Quite an interesting watch. Quite a nice one. Cheap at the price.
Yeah, I would say so. So the functionality is also with that hour ring inside. So if you want, so local time is 2 o'clock, which is London time. I think it says, yeah, London time. It is the base time, and so at 2 o'clock you can then read the time of certain cities, just like Bangkok, which would be 8 o'clock in the morning then. So this is how a world timer works with that hour ring. What strikes me with that Junghans, that is the proper pronunciation, by the way, Junghans, is it doesn't have a changing city ring. So yeah, the city ring is fixed. So that is a fixed dial. And I hope we come back later to the true Courtier patent, where you can change the city ring, so it enables you to travel then.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I think we'll see that on the next watch. So the next watch is a Ball Engineer Master 2 Diver World Timer. This was a 2020 release, $3,349. Traditionally, we'd have no need for a world time function on a dive watch, if you're going diving, that is. And but the reality today is that diver style watches are so popular, with people often traveling with them on, and the mix and style of functionality offers a 300-meter water-resistant watch with an elegant world timer function that allows the wearer to read the time any day of the 24 major time zones. This model is 42 millimeters, and the rotating crown is easily turned by hand and moves the inner ring whilst still preserving water resistance. The movement's an ETA 2836, which has been modified with the world timer ring feature. This is COSC certified. The world time ring moves when you adjust the time in one direction but not in the other direction, and that is how you initially set it. You then turn the bezel so that the local time zone city reference name is at 12 o'clock position. Then you see the current time in any of the major 24 major time zones. There's also a date function on this watch at 3 o'clock and a day function at 6 o'clock. And it's got a loom as well. I can't remember the loom type that Ball used. It's a tritium tubes, I think.
I think those are tritium tubes, yes. So this is what Archie calls a big meal hunger buster. So you get everything. You get a diver's watch, you get a world timer, you get a full calendar, and that all in one watch. So that is really very excessive. Is it also a mechanical movement?
Yeah.
It says chronometer down there. So
it's 5836.
So can we make a tangent to tritium, because I think the loom on those Ball watches is still tritium. The problem with tritium is that it's very toxic. So they've been phasing out tritium. Because tritium dials degrade, and when a watchmaker is opening a watch for service or for some... Hello, Jean-Claude.
Hi, Thomas. Hi, John.
Hey. So when they come...
Hey, JCB. How are you?
Oh, good. Cheers, boys.
Hope you had a good dinner.
Sorry?
Hope you had a good dinner.
Yeah, had a good dinner. I just got home. Poured myself a digestif. I've got a Kahlua and milk, so I'm all set.
Good.
You look very relaxed and very happy.
Hey.
So I was talking about tritium, and the main reason why it was phased out was for workspace safety, for the to protect the watchmakers, because every time they open such a watch, there is a kind of debris. So they inhale then those tritium particles, which is not really healthy. Tritium itself is a very good luminous material, particularly when it's sealed off from air, and that is where the Ball patent comes from, because they pack now the tritium into little tiny glass cubes or tubes that prevents them for getting in touch with oxygen. Which eliminates the aging of the loom. And secondly, you don't have debris that may harm the watchmakers. So that is Ball's solution to keep on going with tritium without the involved problems and hazards.
Just like to say good morning to Perpetual Time Limited. Good morning, Alex Kumbare. Good to see you. And Chili Badger in the chat. Good to see you, Chili. Balls to that watch.
Oh, Chili, now I'm getting trolled again.
Balls to that watch. He's not a fan of the Ball. Oh, we'll move on from the Ball then.
Chili Badger just made a comment. I'm not sure about that. I think one of the purposes of packing that tritium into those tubes is to prevent them aging. I think tritium lasts much longer in those glass tubes, but we will see. Time will tell.
Yeah, I think that's what they purport to say. You know, the loom lasts really long. It's one of their selling points, isn't it, Ball? The tritium tubes. Yeah, interesting.
But it's very complicated and very expensive to make those styles. Just imagine you have to create all those tubes in different broads and lengths and thicknesses, and then you have to install those tubes into the hands which is even more painful, and then that little one in the second hand. So it must be really expensive to make those instead of just painting it with tritium.
Well, I was just looking up the half-life of tritium, which is 12 years. So that's why Chili Badger is talking about the 12 years of useful loom, I assume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's half-life, I think, 25 years, but in reality, 12 years of useful loom.
Yeah, I know that information, but I think that half-life is connected to the exposure of oxygen. So if you encase it, I think it lasts longer, but I may be wrong about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether it was dependent on whether it was reacting with any other materials, or it's just that it just naturally decays, over time. I thought, but yeah, I could be wrong.
Yeah. So move on. You're looking very dapper, JCB. Just like you've been out. Just like you've been out to dinner.
Yeah, no, just that.
Yeah.
Just caught up with a friend and his fiance. So yeah, it was good to get out and just got in. So yeah, I've got the jacket on.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so move on to a Zodiac Super Seawolf, another dive watch. This limited edition Zodiac Super Seawolf is another diver's watch that is combining the world time function. This watch follows the vintage-inspired Super Seawolf template, slightly thicker than the hand-skin diver, 13.6 millimeters. The added thickness is practically unnoticeable on the wrist. The main difference again is the bezel inserts for the 24-hour cities for time zones, and these come in red or black. Again, rotating the bezel offers a location and current time on the inner 24-hour ring. There's also a fourth hand for the quick GMT readability. Being bright red, the GMT matches the red bezels on 70s aesthetics. Only 500 of each were made, and these use a Soprod C125 automatic GMT movement. I quite like the red one, to be honest with you. Quite a nice one. Don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think it's an unusual design. I'm not sure if that inner 24-hour ring is rotating or if that's a fixed ray hold. So I'm still trying to work out how this really works.
And Curtis is just responding to Chili, saying, Chili Badger spot on with regard to the half-life. My Marathon GSR has tritium tubes and is my preferred loom material. So Chili's not always wrong.
Well, I would say most of the time. Because most of the time he's trolling me, so he's always wrong.
But yeah, this is another diver 24-hour diver 24 world timer. So I mean, you can have the diver function as well, which is it combines two functions really. I think it's quite good. I quite like it.
Yeah, the problem is if you're underwater, you don't have a proper triangle to mark the zero time when you went or when you started your diving. So that bezel is a little bit useless. Of course, it's water resistant. Not all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is more of a swimming diver than a diving diver.
It's more like a tourist's watch than a diver.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just something for the beach, just something that is a bit water resistant, and for when you go on the beach, you can wear it in all conditions rather than it being just a dress watch.
I don't like that end link connection to the bracelet. Like that looks like it's gonna wear off very soon. What do you think?
it's not bad. And D-Time's saying, hey, Thomas, can borrow a panel and everyone, please remember to update. I think he means upvote.
He means upvote, yes.
Yeah. So if you want to give us a thumbs up, everyone, that's more than welcome. So please, please do that. Yeah. Thank you.
Can you the shots firing now from Chile? No, Chili Badger.
Oh, zip it, Jonathan. You've already got me into chocolate gateau cakes. My freezer's nearly full.
No, who is the moron? You or I?
Nothing wrong with chocolate gateau cakes, Chili.
Absolutely, yeah, that's true. Unless you still are too close enough from New Year's Eve where you have all those plans for a diet, then
Jonathan's obviously good influence.
Yeah,
obviously good influence. Yeah, so yeah, you don't like the end links on that one, so
I don't have much confidence to them, I must say.
Yeah, we'll ditch that one and move on. So yeah, plenty more world timers to look at.
We have Y2K in the audience.
He's picking up a watch, he says.
Oh,
Wow.
unboxing.
Gotta show us Y2K. Come on and
nice surprise.
And show us, buddy. Ooh, what have we got here?
So this is a Fortis. This is using a Fortis caliber F2022 automatic movement. This one displays 3 time zones at once in a different manner. The first by using the center hands, the second by using a rotating blue dial disc showing the continents. The Earth seen from space is turning counterclockwise, just like the authentic rotation of the Earth. The red line represents the 0 meridian in Greenwich, England, and indicates as a rotating disc hand. The second time zone on the inner 24-hour scale. The third time is indicated by setting the bezel on home time. Black or silver models were available on this watch. Two 2012 pieces. 2012 pieces were each individually numbered. Water resistant to 200 meters. And this watch is from 2012. So it's quite a different function, this. It's with the rotating in a circle. That tells you can set.
I think you have to have a degree in engineering to read this.
Yeah. You need to. This one isn't for everyone, definitely.
No, don't come in from dinner drinking two bottles of wine and then try and
yeah.
This fucking thing. What the hell?
Yeah, Jean-Claude, please explain that watch to us.
Yeah, definitely. Chili Badger goes back to the reference about the chocolate gateaus.
Yeah,
my New Year's Eve was listening to Crappy on a loop while sticking my head in an air fryer.
Sounds like you had a fun New Year's.
Sounds like you had a crappy New Year. Yeah, this one you need a maths degree to work out what you're doing. I think on this one, you need some sort of.
Yeah, what I wonder is, that date window is cutting into that 24-hour ring. So I would guess that 24-hour ring is static. So that I think that inner blue disc is rotating while the 24-hour ring is static, and that little red thing is above that blue disc, and it shows the GMT time. So I think that's how it works. But I'm getting a headache from just trying to figure out how that works.
Pretty hard. It's pretty.
And I wonder
complex.
if Jean-Claude is feeling the same.
That's a cue to take it off the screen. Okay. I love it. This show's going great so far.
I think Jean-Claude did deliberately turn that into a Gonzo stream now as well.
But that's even when you're not drunk, that watch is too much. Like you guys, it's all morning for you guys where you are, and you're probably drinking a coffee. Imagine me after a bottle and a half of wine and some spirits. That watch, no, forget it. Anyway.
Right, onto a brand now. When most people, that's a brand that tears some people apart. When most people think of Frederick Constant, they think of entry-level luxury watches that they may stumble across when they get into the hobby, or pass a jeweler's, or see in a magazine. Their aesthetics are usually filled with Roman numerals and cases that are designed in a formal dress watchmaking. And the customer believes that they've stumbled across an affordable equivalent to out-of-reach grails, which isn't a bad strategy, really. Their High Life range has been around for 2 decades now, but was revamped in 2020 with a new case, which is an integrated bracelet sports watch that is very much on trend at the moment. It's a 1970s look, but it's worlds apart from what we usually see from the brand. The High Life World Timer is capable of showing the time in 24 time zones with rotating discs that are set via the crown. The High Life case is 41mm and comes with a leather and upper rubber changeable straps like the VC Overseas, and the watch has a quick change system too. And people tend to look past the brand because their traditional designs don't hold much appeal. And the High Life collection has a different flavour though, and has proved to be a platform for the brand's more interesting complications. And I don't think it's too bad, this one. I know a lot of people bash Frederick Constant. What do you think?
How much is this watch?
$4,295.
Oh, okay.
So it's quite. They are pumping it up there.
Yeah, because Omega has a world timer. I think that is around 6 or 7. So what I like about this watch, and what I'm missing on my world timer, is that it has a date function, and many world timers don't have a date function. So I really appreciate that. Other than that, to me, it's a little bit like soup without a salt. So I think they're playing it a little bit too safe with the case design.
Yeah, copying familiar case 70s design sort of.
Yeah, but not really a strong personality. It's all mainstream, and nobody really hates it, but nobody really passionately loves it, I would say.
Yeah. It looks like a bit like a PRX or something, doesn't it? It's,
but a 4,000 euros.
$4,000 one. Yeah.
It looks like the best of, like, okay, what do you like about the GP Laureato? Okay, let's take this element. What do you like about the Nautilus? The bracelet elements, let's take this one. What do you like about the Vacheron Constantin overseas style? Let's take and I feel like it's just combining the things that work in each of the, let's say, upper echelon of the sports models, and putting it in a world time format.
What I like is apparently that outer city ring is operated by the crown, so there is no extra crown or pusher. So I give them kudos for that.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. So
we have lost 4 viewers over that watch. I'm just saying. So.
Oh dear. Time to get rid of it then.
It looks like they've got the same movement in a watch with a globe on it. Have you seen? Did you have a look at that one, Thomas? When you
Oh, we've got plenty coming up. I've got that one coming up, I think.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's your message says, my main requirements for world time zone is a second hand and a switchable city. A date complication is secondary for me. Fair enough, Mason. Yeah, good point. Okay, we'll get rid of this one. And you're not going to like the next one. I know it already. But I thought I'd chuck it in anyway, seeing as they brought a world timer to the table. Bremons. An intricate military watch for pilots and travelers, they say. Incorporates a highly finished dial with Bremont's rotor click bezel with internal bidirectional global time zones and GMT hand. An automatic chronograph display, scratch-resistant DLC coating, case barrel, and superluminova hands markers. 100-meter water resistant, 42 hours power reserve. I think that's enough I've said about that one.
You mentioned a rotor set bezel or a rotor ring bezel?
Rotor click bezel, they call it.
Say it again.
Rotor click bezel. I don't know what that means. I can't see a bezel moves on it.
I'm not sure if that is really operated by that bezel, but I would advise them not to have a smooth bezel then when it's operated with a bezel. But I doubt that. I think they mean that city ring. And
yeah, it must be the inner bezel.
Yeah, I think so.
We've lost another viewer over this watch.
Oh,
yeah, 2 watches in succession, Tom.
All right.
When the viewers are going down to 4, we are by ourselves. Then we can end the show.
We'll get rid of this one. We're losing viewers. I've made bad choices.
I think these 2 watches, like, they just lacked fantasy. The last one, it felt like it could be from Zinn and from IWC, from a lot of watch companies.
So this one's a new release. This one's just come out. It's the new Mida Ocean Star Decompression World Timer. The original 1961 Ocean Decompression Timer reissue was released in 2020 with a limited number of 1,961 pieces that sold out in no time. The neo-vintage bright and bold colourful dial was actually inspired by an early 1960s watch called the Powerwine Diver 1000, which had concentric scales to mark diving decompression times at different depths. The same look is back in this world timer, but isn't limited edition. It's 40.5 millimeters and 200 meter water resistant with a 24 city world time bidirectional bezel and 24-hour scale, as well as GMT hand. The decompression scale is still on the dial and looks a little messy along with the 24-hour scale, I think. There's also a date window at 3 o'clock. There are 2 dial variants, and these come in with Tropic rubber and Milanese straps. And it uses a Powermatic 80 movement, also known as an ETA C07-66, with a GMT function. A 3 Hz evolution of the ETA 2824 with 80 hours power reserve. A bit of an oddball watch, but with a funky looking one for sure. I think it's nice funky colours. I don't know what you all think of this one. Illegible or not?
I like the color combination of the blue one, the black one as well, but illegibility is definitely something that I would say, because I'm trying hard just to figure out. The hands are just a little bit small or thin. Yeah. Other than that, a really nice watch for just for people who want the look, but for functionality, I don't know.
Bill's saying it doesn't have enough concentric circles.
I think we need more concentric circles. Yes.
You'd hate to be on acid when you were looking at this watch. You'd be on a bad trip, man.
Isn't that the same system, just like on another diver's watch? So the deeper you go, the less of those circles you see, because certain colors disappear in certain depths. I think that is the case here with those concentric rings, but I'm only guessing here.
I think he might be right, because I think Mado has also a diver watch with the same, but even more colorful.
Yeah. So I think the trick is, when you still see blue and all the colors disappeared, you're 40 meters deep, something like that. But yeah.
Jamie's asking if we have any Christine Waldwood timers, preferably on NATO strap. No, sorry, Jamie, I didn't get any Christian Wards in, so you're lucky for you. And Y2K is giving us an update on his watch he's picking up. Nothing glamorous for the piece I just picked up. I'll try and come on later on the way home, and he needs a bite too. So, yeah, I quite like the colours of this world timer, but as we say, it's quite illegible, and there's a lot going on that dial. So, yeah, that was just a new Mido release this week, I think, or in the past couple of weeks. So we'll move on. Bulgari. Now, Bulgari Octoroma World Time. Released in 2017, the Octoroma has a rounder case than the Octofinissimo. At 41 millimeters, it's a stainless steel, which is either uncoated or black DLC coated, now with an automatic world time movement. Both are 100 meters water resistant. The BLV 258 movement has a 40 hours power reserve and can be viewed through the exhibition case back. The 24-hour world time ring can be orientated at the top of the dial, and then the hour and minute hand set normally. The 24-hour ring is sandwiched between the city ring and the center portion of the dial, which is linked to the time-telling mechanism. Many world timers like this are better for tracking foreign time zones for your homestead rather than for actually traveling in some ways. Many people prefer to travel with a GMT function instead. And
yeah, that is a good point. So when you're traveling, you're not only adjusting the city ring, the outer one, you also adjust then the time, the local time. So it's a little bit of a hassle. The main purpose is you're sitting in your office in London and you want to know if you contact your business contact in Sydney, if you're dropping him off bed, or if it's an appropriate time to call him. What is the diameter of this particular watch?
I'm not too sure.
It looks a little bit big. Other than that, I really like the black one. I'm not sure.
41 millimeters.
41?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think I don't know if I tried this one, but I tried a couple of watches at Bulgari boutique last August, and one of them I think was this one, and also they have an aluminum rubber world timer with an ETA movement, which was pretty nice. Also, really like fun traveling watch, light to wear. I think they got the design from like 20 years ago or something like that. They had the same model and they just reissued it. But it's really nice, and everything from the crown. So
I would like to pinpoint on two things. So Jean-Claude had a headache from that dodgy Mido watch that we've just seen earlier, and the cleanliness of the design of the Bulgari must be a relief for his headache now. The second thing that I would like to pinpoint on is how they wrote out Rio de Janeiro. because that was a controversial topic on my world timer. You have a kind of conflict. I agree with everyone who says Rio de J looks dodgy. It's not appropriate. But you have the choice between only putting Rio, which then leaves a lot of space to New York and Cabo, or you make it like that because there is simply not enough space to properly spell out Rio de Janeiro. And Bulgari did the way I did it on my world timer. However, there are many people who are criticizing it and said you should have left it with Rio. But in my opinion, aesthetically, it would not look nice, particularly with those crowded cities next to it.
Yeah, Mason saying it was $8,350 US dollars back in 2021.
Jay Gray Sweater is asking a question. Why not Sao Paulo? Good point. Just like I said at the beginning of the show, those world timers are a little bit about traveling and traveling in your mind. And in my opinion, Rio de Janeiro is just a more romantic destination to dream travel or mind travel than Sao Paulo. That is just my opinion.
And I agree with Bill. The blue dial looks much better than the DLC coated one. This one looks much better.
I disagree with you. I like the DLC coated much more.
Yeah,
I actually like the DLC as well more. Even though I love this blue dial, but the DLC has some kind of attraction as a travel watch, like the subdued.
I think it's super cool.
Dark. Yeah.
But I think the DLC must be on a strap, not on a bracelet.
Yes. The sailcloth strap suits it very well.
Yeah.
It even looks more clean, I think, than the blue one somehow.
Jean-Claude, what does your headache say? You're muted.
So yeah, I like this one here, the black one, the DLC on the strap. Beautiful, very nice, and you hit the nail on the head, Jonathan, with this sort of minimalist design for the world time. Much easier to deal with mentally and visually. Very nice.
So I got differing opinions there, Bill. A lot of people like the black. I actually quite like it. Yeah, you're right. It's quite nice. I'm just used to the blue dial. I'm used to that blue dial.
Itself to being under the radar as well, you know. You can.
Yeah, I'm too used to that blue dial Octofinissimo look and seeing the blue dial on the Octofinissimo, and never really thought of the Octa range as a black watch. But yeah, it looks nice. You can definitely see the cities on the city ring. Yeah, nice. So we'll move on. And this one, I thought of you, JCB, when I saw this one. So
Ooh, what do we got?
This one is the Breitling Transocean Unitime chronograph.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Breitling Transocean chronograph that JCB has is 43 millimeters, I believe, and this Unitime model featuring the caliber 05 is 46 millimeters. The Unitime Transocean adds a world time ring and is 100 meters water resistant. So yeah.
Can I show you something as well? Before this one came out, the Transocean Unitime had a globe on it, and I'll show you. I'll try and pull up a picture. Just give me a sec.
I saw it. I saw that one. Yeah.
The original.
Yeah, had a globe in the center.
Yeah,
I was going to show that one, but I could only find a Blog to Watch article on it, and I thought it was maybe too old looking.
Yeah, it is a bit old, so it's a little bit outdated now. But yeah, this one's really cool. But look at this one, and then have a look at just to compare.
Sure.
I'll pull this one up. So this was the original Unitime that came out, 46 mil. Look, the globe is not. Give me a big picture. Come on. Give me a sec. Let's pull up a nice picture. The globe. It's not like a Patek cloisonné dial or something, but yeah, this was the original one. Hang on. Let's have a look. Screen. Yeah, so when they brought out the original Unitime, I'm gonna say back in sort of 2011 or something like that, 2012.
2012, yeah.
Oh, there. Okay, it says there 2012. Yeah, beautiful watch, really nice watch. Unitime. I guess it's just a world timer, really sort of standard type of movement or display. But then you've got the chronograph as well, so it's sort of pretty cool piece. Chronograph with date. I don't think the globe in the middle. It's not really doing anything other than just. It's not really a globe. It's just showing the world, I suppose.
Sure.
A bit of what do you got? North and South America. It's not. It's really just more a little bit of a visual thing, I guess. But I thought it was a good effort from Breitling when they brought it out back then. It was pretty cool. The only thing is it's 46 mil. It's quite a big watch.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's my only sort of gripe with the piece. But otherwise, I think it's a pretty cool looking watch. Yeah, just a bit on the big side.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. What is this? Let's have a look. I mean, look at that on the mesh bracelet. Beautiful watch. Really nice piece. Yeah, I remember actually putting this watch on my wrist when they had it in a store in Brisbane. I was living in Brisbane, Archie Luxury territory at the time.
Okay.
Back in 2012, yeah, I was based up there. And,
did you meet the Pontiff there?
I didn't actually. No, I didn't. I didn't meet the Pontiff then. I think we spoke on the phone maybe once or twice back then. But the store was the Hourglass in Australia. Hourglass is so I think they've got a few of them around the world, headquartered in Singapore, and there's an Hourglass authorized dealer in Brisbane, and they had this watch there, and I saw it in the window, and I just walked in straight away, and I went in and put it on my wrist, and it was pretty cool. But it was it was just quite big. It was just a big piece, the Breitling they fucking love this 46 millimeter piece for some reason. It's just so big. And with the Transocean as well, the lugs are quite long. So the lug to lug on this piece just makes it too big. So I think that's probably the issue is the size.
What really infuriates me is that mesh bracelet on that random standard end tube where it's then affixed to the case. I grew up when you could go to a watch store and buy this kind of strap for like €5, and the watchmakers and jewelers had those kind of straps or bracelets when you've worn out your leather strap and you were too stingy to buy a new one, so you got those cheap metal ones, and now they are in fashion, and I blame Breitling and Omega for that.
Yeah, so Mason's saying that the globe doesn't like it. So here, this is obviously the version without the globe. Yeah, the Transocean Uni time. What do you guys think of this one?
But that's still 46. So that is the size of a big IWC pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's the next one I'm gonna pull up looks very similar to the one I just showed, the blue one that I just showed, but I like a little bit better, and that's the JLT Polaris chronograph world time, which whoops, there we go. On the 50th anniversary of the Memovox Polaris, JLC introduced 5 models to pay tribute to the reference. The most featured filled model was this watch, the most complicated Polaris to date. It's the largest watch in the lineup at 44 millimeters, so 2 millimeters less than the Breitling. This is to accommodate the movement, but also to make sure it remains legible and untilted. Because of the size, they made it out of titanium to keep the weight down. It has 2 crowns, one to adjust the time and the other to adjust the rotating city disc. Also has 2 pushers for the chronograph. And the watch uses an in-house caliber 752A movement with twin barrels and 48-hour power reserve, and is available in blue or black dials, and is 100 meters water resistant. Now, this one I like a lot more than the Breitling, to be honest with you. I don't know what you think.
Yeah.
That webpage that you had on showed this world timer without a chronograph. I think it looked a little bit more pleasing. I think it's too cluttered with a chronograph.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that is then smaller or if it's the same size. Can you go back one step on that webpage that you just showed? Because it showed, yeah, here on the right corner. Yes. Oh, it's still
on
a
the
chronograph.
bottom.
Yeah, is that also a chronograph? I can't see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The window is too small. Okay. I apologize.
Yeah, they're just showing different chronographs.
Yeah, the black looks a bit smaller somehow than the blue one. But I really like this one more than the Breitling. This.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all chronographs. Yeah. A lot of money though, £14,000, £14,400. There's a lot of money for 2018. This came out, and
I guess GLC Polaris is not a watch that holds its price, or maybe on the secondary.
No, it doesn't. I don't think you're right there, Abdul.
Yeah, that is a lot, isn't it? £14,000. Bloody hell. What's the size? Is this a 42?
44.
44. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it seems like a bit of a theme here where you put a chronograph into a world time and then the size has to go up by a few mil. It's almost like just leave the chronograph out and just have the world time function, and that's what you need, and keep the watch, at a more reasonable size. 40 to 42 is where you want to be.
Kurt is saying, I dislike world timers with maps on the dial, especially the Alexander Gleason 1892 top-down view. This is a map that flat earthers use.
I don't know. I sort of like world timers with a map on the dial with something. I don't know. Call me old school, but there's something sort of cool about having the map on there for some reason. And I always think of the Patek the Patek world timers with that cloisonné enamel, and even Jonathan's watch, and it's just something really cool about it, I reckon. That's sort of why I pulled up that Breitling before, even though the map was pretty shitty. Having a representation of the globe on there is something that's sort of pretty cool, I reckon.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Each
what
to their own, obviously.
I think that's what most people think of when you mention world timer. You think of Patek straight away, don't you? I mean, you think of Patek world timer and the globe on the dial, and that's what springs to most people's minds, I think.
But having said that, if we think back to that Bulgari that we looked at before, just having that clean, simple look as well was sort of cool too. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking it through now. Like sometimes it can work, and sometimes when having a globe is cool too. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Patek, I would wear it in the office while having meetings with somebody, plus or minus a couple of hours difference. So I have my world timer to know what time is the meeting and everything else. And the Bulgaria I would be traveling with, because it's pretty easy to read, it's easy to wear, no clutter on the dial. Feels like somehow easier to travel with.
Yeah, well, going back to globes on the dial, this is a very popular one, this one. The Omega Aquaterra World Timer. Omega best known for tool watches like the Speedmaster and Seamaster ranges. Although they mainly focus on sports watches, it doesn't stop them from offering a watch like their World Timer, which blends their Aquaterra anti-magnetic properties with the sophistication of a World Timer. The first debuted on 2019 with the Omega release of a platinum version for the 15th anniversary of the Aquaterra line. This was one of the few Omega watches made in platinum and had an enamel world map which was really hand painted and on a sapphire crystal, which was very striking. This model was limited to 87 pieces though and had a price tag of $50,000. So fast forward 3 years to 2020, and Omega released the standard world timer, one in steel and one in Sedna gold, much to the delight of their fans. These came out at a fraction of the cost, and the steel version here has a beautiful blue dial at the center, which is laser A-bladed titanium world map, and which is more intricate and refined details compared to the platinum's hand-painted enamel dial. Instead of big cities like Paris, Geneva, Berlin, and Zurich, Omega chose to put Bienne on the city ring to represent Central European time, and this was a choice significant to Omega, as this is where Omega HQ and the Swatch Group are situated. And the steel model was powered by the caliber 8938, which has 60 hours power reserve and is metal certified to be anti-magnetic to 15,000 Gauss. The steel and Sedna gold models both come with a choice of bracelet or leather strap or textured rubber strap. And I really like this one, to be honest with you. I don't know what the rest of you think. I like the broad arrow hand.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's sort of a sportier piece. Like it looks sort of quite sporty for a world time. World time is generally speaking, tend to be more in a dressy in that dress watch genre, whereas this one it's squarely in the sports watch genre, being an Aquaterra, and you're getting a sort of more of a sports watch type of vibe with this one, but very much sort of a dressy piece too. You can wear this with a suit, you can wear it in the office, but it's got that that Aquaterra sports watch vibe too. So it's a real a bit of a more of a versatile piece, I reckon. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, Mason saying this Aquaterra is top of his list later this year. And funny comment here from Bill. He says he hates all Omega markers. They look like open mouth of a shark with its teeth.
I think this one's a bit big though, man. It's like 44 mil.
I
Might
think
be a
it's
bit,
44, yes.
yeah, a bit
What I
chunky
really
too.
like is the high level of detail on that world map in the middle. Omega did a very good job. I don't know which technology is behind it, but it's really sharp. It's really high definition. What I also like is the full operation on the crown, which is nice. But overall, if you're spending this kind of money, I think the show power, which you hopefully will feature, Thomas, is much nicer in my opinion. And if you let me choose between that and the Bulgari, I would go with the Bulgari.
And then Curtis is saying his favorite world time and maybe next watch is the Gerard Perregaux 1966 world time, and it's around $11,000 US. Simple and elegant. I haven't included that, Curtis, but that's an interesting pick. So yeah, this is a nice one, the Omega Aquaterra. So yeah, I think. Hi, Flipping Tipo, good to see you. More like lamprey, which is way worse. I don't know what that comment refers to. Bill's saying, love the watch, but for the markers. So, yeah, I'll move on from this one.
Oh, gee, I just Googled lamprey. That is nasty.
And back onto IWC. And this 2021 release, the IWC Pilot's Watch Time Zoner, Top Gun Serotonin. So going back to Pilot's watches that we looked at in the last show, and blacked out watches from a previous show, we have here the IWC Time Zoner Top Gun in Serotonin. The brand's proprietary Serotonin alloy combines the lightweight and impact-resistant properties of titanium with the scratch-resistant and durability of modern zirconium oxide ceramics. At 46 millimeters, which is quite big, this is a typically big IWC Pilot's watch with military-inspired iconic geometry, and the Serotonin is quite a light material though, and the mix of Flieger hands and rounded Arabic numerals make this color variant of Time Zoner a little more legible. There's a curved display window from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock that shows a 24-hour ring for GMT use, making a watch a GMT world timer combined in a way. And wearers can reset the hours to local time instantly on the fly simply by pressing down on the bezel and aligning the current time zone indicated by the corresponding city with a triangular lume plot at 12. And there's also a date window at 3 o'clock. The time zone is powered by an in-house 82760 automatic movement with 60 hours power reserve, and only 500 pieces are produced a year. So, are we a fan of the Time Zoner? It's a nice black watch.
I totally fucking love that watch. If it wasn't in 46 millimeters.
I was just going to say the same thing. If this was a 42, it would be perfect. It's a great watch.
From what I understand, IWC solved most of the issues with the world timers. So because they are always difficult to set when you're traveling. For example, you take that watch to New York. You can put that city ring then to 12 o'clock that says New York, but then you have to manually adjust the time. As far as I know, with this particular watch, it is not necessary. You just move the bezel, and you immediately have the time, the local time for New York, which is really a novelty, and that is really outstanding. What IWC did there. The only two negative points about that watch: first of all, 46 millimeters. Secondly, the price is outrageous. I think that is 18,000 or something like that. So it's really expensive.
Yeah, Mason saying that this is what he calls a time zone watch. as distinct from a world time. For me, world timers have 24-hour rings. Yeah, valid point, maybe.
Well, it has a 24-hour ring. It's just
But that's just up at the top, yeah. That's
yeah,
just up there.
yeah, it's just hidden below
From
that.
my
But I get the point, because you can't simultaneously see the time in Auckland and in Karachi and in London. So you have to dial the bezel then. So I understand the point.
Yeah, but it has got a ring from 11 to 1 o'clock, yeah. But yeah, I really like this watch as well. I mean, I think it's great. I think I love it. It's a really beefy watch. It's I love blacked out watches, and it's a cracking looking watch. What do you think, Abdul? Are you a fan of this?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, but the size, just the size, it's 46 is just too big. I really like how it looks and everything, but maybe if I have the hobby, let's say I have a Cessna plane, and I wear this outside of my jacket when I'm flying the plane, then that would work. But other than that, 46 is just too big for me.
Yeah, yeah. JCB, you fan?
Yeah, definitely. I was just saying before, like it's a really cool piece, but just the size is putting me off. If it was a more reasonable size, I think it would be a great watch. But overall, just the look of the watch, and the function, the way that they've done it, it's fantastic. Yeah, love the watch.
To defend the watch a little, I had it on the wrist. It doesn't look like 46, but it's still very big. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a big pilot on the wrist before, and while it was big, it didn't seem like too big, but it still felt big. Like it's still it's a big pilot, right?
yeah, but I make the difference. So I like all exotic case materials, black and titanium and everything. But in my opinion, the traditional IWZ big pilot must be a chunk of steel, and it must be that big. I don't care if it looks too big on my wrist or not. I just love it like it is. Doesn't have to fit under a cuff. But that is the only exception that I make for a 46 millimeter watch, which is also very, very thick. Other than that, I like all those exotic case materials and slimmer watches and smaller diameters. But the big pilot, the traditional with the 8 days power reserve, that is the exception to the rule for me.
So got some clashing opinions here. Curtis Hahn, who's a pilot himself, he says the proper definition of a world time watch is one where you can read the 24-hour major time zones simultaneously. And Mason One saying that is a dual time watch. The world time 24-hour ring I talk about is one which you can read time everywhere in the world at a glance without actuating something. Fair enough. He says he's not dissing it. It's nice, but that's how I distinguish between types of watch in this category.
Do you want to read the comment of the usual fanboy here?
Jamie says the proper definition is Patek world time. Patek is king, Jamie. That's what he say.
You realize that I have 3 trolls here now. I have Chili Badger, who is a general troll, no matter what I say, and now I have 2 Patek Philippe world timer fanboys who take every possible occasion to snipe against me and my non-Patek Philippe world timer. So it's going to be an interesting show for the rest of the time.
He says this is from the Darth Vader styling school of design. All black. So, okay, we'll move on from the IWC time zoner, which mixed reviews, but I quite like it. And we'll go on to something a bit more elegant. And this one is the JLC Master Control Geographic. The Geographic has been part of JLC's Master Control collection since 1990, but JLC recently revamped the Master Control collection in, I believe it was 2020, which this model is from. Rather than simply indicating the hour of a second time zone like a GMT does, the Geographic also displays the city name relating to the time zone through an aperture at the bottom of the dial. So Mason one won't like this one.
Yeah,
This gives travelers the possibility of setting the second time zone by location rather than needing to calculate the time difference. A small 24-hour night-day indicator is placed to the left of the second time zone subdial, which is at 6 o'clock. There's a day subdial at 2 o'clock and a power reserve indicator at 10 o'clock. All of the hands apart from the main hour and minute hand are blued to enhance legibility, whilst also adding a nice touch of colour. Water resistant to 50 meters. The case is 40 millimeters, which is a nice size, with a satin finish and exhibition case back. The caliber 939 has a 70-hour power reserve, which is quite good, and the Geographic is also available in rose gold. So, what's our opinions on this one? You saw I interrupted you, Jonathan. You were saying something.
Yeah, I would like to fire up or spice up that discussion a little bit. I agree that it's not a proper world time, but it's more than a dual time, because you can adjust it according the city. So you don't have to look at the airport what the local time is. You just set it to your destination time. So that is an additional function that differentiates it from a normal dual time. What do you think?
So
it's a dual time, but with an additional feature because you can pre-select the destination time.
Yeah, it is a world time, and I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that comment. Yeah, you can.
We have Y2K in the audience, or
hi Y2K.
Hello, gents. Keep going.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah, I agree with that comment, Jonathan. It's the aperture at the bottom. You can select the home city and or your local city, and it's a different way of adjusting of fitting it into a smaller case. Rather than having it doesn't have the 24-hour ring, of course. But it's it just has the city ring, but in a small aperture. It doesn't have the day-night 24-hour ring, but of course
it shows the day and night on that little subdial next to it.
Yeah, but it's got a subdial with its own clock. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But then the question is, who can read that little tiny hand?
Well, they've blued them to make them to.
Yeah, which then I think it's red. So I think. Yeah, but it's still a tiny hand. So I would have in my age, but I'm almost dead. So in my age, I would have difficulties reading that.
Oh. Well, this is. I mean.
Bye-bye, Russ. You have a good day. I have one troll less, which is a good thing.
Take care, Russell. Great to see you.
Have a good one, Russell.
Have a good one, buddy. I like this watch. It's just the smaller size, maybe, but it's not a world timer in my opinion. It's a dual time with a city functionality or something like that. It's a nice watch. I really like that it's 40 millimeters. It's a nice combination. It's very nice, let's say, office kind of watch that you can travel with for business meetings or something like that.
Yeah, and Mason saying didn't like time zones. Chelsea's great. Obviously, later we have the A-Lands on and classic to original time zone watches. Yeah, I'll be bringing the Langhans on later on, and yeah. And Bill, we are listening. We haven't gone off topic. We are listening. And Curtis is saying his Grail Pilot watch is the Patek 5930p Platinum Green Dial World Time Flyback Chronograph, but it's $140,000 to $200,000. A wee bit out of his price range. Mine too, Curtis. Yeah, bit too expensive for me too. Okay,
I personally prefer the white gold variant with the blue dial of this particular watch.
Right. Okay.
I visually like more the blue dial than the green one, but
Right.
but it's a fantastic watch, no doubt about that.
Right. So move on from the JLC. It's not a true world timer, and I'll get on to the next one, which is the Chopard LUC Chopard Time Traveler 1. Now, this is LUC Chopard's first world timer, available in steel. Came out in steel, rose gold, or platinum. Came out in 2016. It's 42 millimeters in diameter. There's a central hand that indicates a date on the innermost disc. The Dauphine-style hands point to the local time shown on the railway track circle, which is set by the crown at 2 o'clock. On the outside of that, there's a 24-hour graduated ring which operates in conjunction with the city ring. The crown at 4 o'clock allows the wearer to perform a one-time synchronization of the world time with the local time, and then you're good to go. Through the exhibition case pack, there's a COSC certified at caliber 01.05-L, which was developed in the Chopard workshops in Fleur, Switzerland. And this is just 6.52 millimeters thick and offers 60 hours power reserve. It's a nice looking watch, and comes in, as I say, steel, rose gold, or platinum. The steel was 12,000 euros, the rose gold 22,000 euros, or the platinum 36,000 euros. So expensive pieces, but LUC Chopard don't get enough recognition, I don't think. I think people are just coming around to them.
Yeah, I think I personally like the black PVD one with the steel case the most. But visually, I find that very attractive. But then it shows one of the issues of the traditional Louis Cartier world timers, which are those two crowns. And it's very difficult to find a visual balance with those two crowns. Some people say it looks like an old hand-stopping chronograph. Some compare it with horns. It's getting even worse when you place one crown at 3 and one crown at 9, because then people will complain that it looks like a Teletubby, and so it's not an easy task to visualize those two independent crowns and make it user-friendly. For example, Patek went a different path. They have one crown at 3 and then a pusher at 10. That's how they're getting around the problem. Some people praise them for their invention. Some people say a crown and a pusher is having a Calatrava case then unbalanced.
Right. Yeah, different comments here. Curtis says he tried on the LEC Chopard World Time watch in rose gold recently in his local boutique. A beautiful watch indeed. Yeah, I think that's the rose gold one on the right there.
Yeah, I think the Chopard did a home run with that. Thomas, can I pull up one variant that I really like?
Yeah, certainly.
1 second. And I think that is mentioned, the World Time 1. Let me pull that up. Okay, here we go.
Guys, I might jump off and bid you off a good night. It's getting quite late down here in Melbourne, so I might have a cup of tea and head to bed. So
okay, mate.
Yeah,
okay,
thank you very much.
JCB.
Great to see you, JCB.
I'll have to catch the replay to see your unboxing, Y2K.
What? But you're leaving.
I gotta go.
All
gonna
right. Take
Bye
care.
bye, JCB.
Good night, mate. Yeah, take
Bye-bye.
care.
So it has been mentioned also in the comments that is LUC Time Traveler 1, 42 millimeters with those orange highlights. I really like the vibe of the watch.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Is the other one 40 millimeters?
42. So here you can see the globe for the crown that sets the city ring, and the normal crown with LUC.
Right.
Movement is also very nice. I think it's there in-house. Okay, sorry for the tangent.
No. It's great. Good information.
Thickness is being asked. Let me check. Thickness. Doesn't say.
Thickness or sickness?
No, thickness. Doesn't say in the specs. Strange. Gives the diameter, but not the thickness. Sorry, can't reply to that. Okay.
I could maybe check with on this article. The things we do for you, Bill.
Is it the Chopard LUC Time Traveler one black
Yes.
that you're looking at?
Yes.
So it's 12.09 millimeter total case thickness. 12.09 millimeters.
There we go.
And it's water resistant to 50 meters.
So Y2K's answered that for you, Bill. See, the things we do for you on this show. So, next one up.
While Thomas is pulling the next one, at the end of the stream, I will do a very brief mini show and tell of some alternative options that you guys can consider to purchase affordably.
Right. Okay. So this one, the Arnold and Son Globetrotter, blue dial, stainless steel, 18,900 Swiss francs, limited to 88 pieces. The Globetrotter is a more artistic three-dimensional interpretation of a world timer, depicting land masses surrounded by water on a large dome in the center of the dial. The Globetrotter's more intuitive take on traditional world time and lets you determine the time in different parts of the northern hemisphere at a glance. As one of the most intuitive watchmakers of his day, John Arnold, who lived from 1736 to 1799, patented his pivotal detent escapement and was renowned for his precision marine chronometers, commissioned by the Royal Navy. The Globetrotter, which was originally launched in 2018, has been described as a timepiece for the modern-day navigator. The brand's calibers have all been conceived, designed, and developed, machined, decorated, and assembled and adjusted by its sister manufacturer, Le Perret. Rising prominently to the center of the dial is a blue dome with realistic landmasses corresponding to the northern hemisphere. An arched bridge spanning the dome and suspended on its axis with a ruby marking the North Pole is reminiscent of the historical maritime gimbals used to keep marine chronometers and other navigational tools in an upright position. The designers at Arnold & Son decided that the main features of the watch had to be a large hemisphere representing the northern hemisphere, a large domed hemisphere regarding a lot of dial space and height, which meant an even bigger dome. Sapphire crystal was needed to protect the dial. And the case is 45 millimeters and has a height of 17.23 millimeters. And the domed hemisphere is machined from a round piece of brass and rotates anti-clockwise once every 24 hours. This means that you can check the time anywhere in the north of the equator at a glance. Home time or reference time is set by pulling the crown out to its third position. And if you're in Madrid, for example, and it's 4:30, you would turn the crown to its position of the globe against the 24-hour scale, ensuring that the section of the map represents an Iberian Peninsula that is positioned between 4 and 5. The hour is set by aligning the globe, and the minutes can be adjusted by turning the crown clockwise. Local time is set with the crown set into the second position, and to consult the time in other countries of the northern hemisphere, all you have to do is locate the country on the map and trace an imaginary line to the 24-hour scale. It uses a caliber A and S 6022 with 45 hours power reserve that can be seen through the exhibition case back. And Arnold & Son can customize the globe with a depiction of the southern hemisphere if you want. And there's no Pauline dial version, which isn't limited in numbers, which retails for 17,900 Swiss francs. So this is a really interesting one, this one, because it's a 3D map of the world.
Yeah, visually not my cup of tea, I must say. I'm a little bit disappointed that they don't incorporate the detente or detent escapement on this one. I think it's going to be difficult to read the different world times with that globe.
You can see there it's sort of raised up.
It's like a dome shape, is it, Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3D. So it actually rotates this.
I like how it looks, but I don't think you get it for the function. I think it's more like the whole concept of having half of the globe on it. It looks nice, but I feel like it will be really also big on the wrist.
Yeah.
Do we have a shot of the movement? I think there is a standard La Perret, which is based on the ETA 2824. That is the one that brought Bremont in trouble.
Ah, really?
That they claimed that is in-house, and then it was later found out. Yeah.
Right. This one's a lot more money than a Bremont, though.
Isn't it 17 or what is it? Was it 70? 17, I think.
17,000.
Yeah, but that limited Bremont was in that ballpark as well.
Ah, really?
It was
Right.
insane. They put a cloth of a Wright Flyer on the rotor and then asked, I think, 17,000 pounds or something.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a. quite like that 3D globe though on this one. I thought it was quite an interesting feature.
Aesthetically, it's like a novelty. Actually, I would actually buy a watch because of the globe that turns inside, and I think that's something very nice.
Yeah, I thought it was very nice too. Y2K.
Yeah, I mean, call me simple, but I think or easily entertained. But I think when you're wearing it and you're not feeling your best today, and you look at your piece on your wrist, I think it can bring you a lot of joy.
Y2K, you realize that you can't see the globe moving. It's moving too slow. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, Jonathan's always got to pour. You've always got to pour water on my Jägermeister, huh? Don't dilute my fun.
Okay, then we'll move on from that one.
Just for shits and giggles, I know Jonathan loves his Zin. Now, I saw the Zin U1, okay, and at Watches Switzerland today, and I told my AD, I can understand how Zin fans love a nice Zin, but the U1, it feels like it's like a SUV, yes, being put on 15-inch tires. What I mean is that the strap is really good. The Zin, like the stock Zin strap is good. But the watch itself is quite puny, actually. And the materials is great, the way they make the materials and everything, but, you know, it needs a bigger frame on top of that strap. Jonathan?
Yeah, I agree with you when you're seeing the small one. What always disappoints me on their watches is they're too heavy. I think their design screams titanium, and when I touch them, they're too heavy.
Yeah, it depends which piece it is, but the U1 I felt was all right, but you know the strap doesn't do justice to the case, and the case doesn't do justice to the strap.
Yeah. But I'm not a big Zin defender, so. So yeah, I appreciate the brand. I have respect for their price point, but for a tool watch, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay, on to our next world timer. This one Abdul might know a bit about. This is a 2020 Hermes Arcturus Voyager, winner of the men's complication category at last year's GPHG Awards. This watch has a platinum and titanium case with a galvanic engraved and lacquered dial. It's 41 millimeters watch, which has a unique traveling time mechanism developed exclusively for Hermes. By pressing the little button at 9 o'clock, the floating satellite disc moves around the planisphere to display the 24-hour time zones. And the home time is also displayed in an aperture window at 12 o'clock. A true technical challenge for Hermes to get this aesthetic. And the traveling time complication is integrated into the Hermes H1837 mechanical self-winding movement with 40 hours power reserve. So, are you a fan of this one, Abdul?
Yes, I'm a big fan of it. I like where Hermes is going, where in the last maybe 3 to 5 years, they've been producing really nice watches. This year they won 2 GPHG awards for the same watch, actually. So
yeah,
it's pretty funny that they won it for the same watch, 2 different sizes. But I really like it. I really like where they're going with their watches, and definitely one of my favorite ways of having this configuration, which is, I think they had also like let's say moon phase with the same similar complication of moving around, and another dual time, maybe something like that. So they're using the same formula like the Octofinissimo, just putting some new complication on it, and it actually works somehow, at least from my opinion.
Yeah. What do you think to this one, Jonathan? Are you a fan or not?
Technically, I like it, but it's not a world timer, it's a travel time, just like the name says. So how it works is very simple. You see that little tiny red dot where that tiny dial says 8. So that is the time zone that you're checking currently, and by pushing that, you move that entire little dial clockwise, if I remember correctly. So next time zone would be then Denver, and while you move that little dial clockwise, the indicated time changes then. And your home time is being displayed, or the hours of your home time is displayed here in the upper aperture. Now comes the big but, and I'm sorry to hurt my friend Abdul. I can't get over those lugs. I can't get over the lug at 12. Why do the... I know Hermes shtick with saddles and with those things that are on horse coaches and all this stuff. I know the history and I know the reason and I know it's their shtick, but I can't get over this lug at 12. Just keep it just like the lugs at 6.
I have to agree with you. I don't like the lugs as well.
Thank you. Case closed. Y2K, what do you say?
I can hit and miss, but that crown, okay. I was reading on the instructions to do this watch, yes, and the crown itself, there's quite a bit of a faff to set it all up, and I would have preferred that the crown was a bit more, chunkier, especially when you want to do so much things. Let me just read the blurb in setting it up. First, use the pusher at 9 o'clock to place a satellite opposite the city that represents your home time zone. Next, pull the crown out to the third position and set the time in the satellite to the correct time. So, if your home time zone is using summertime, use the city with S indicated, but a cool detail is that for non-English speaking countries, the letter instead is using S. It's the first letter of the word for summer in that country's native language. Then push the crown to the second position and turn it until the correct home time is displayed in the home time window. From that point on, once you start traveling, you simply press the pusher to move the city ring until the satellite has rotated around the dial to a position adjacent to your local time city, I think, which Jonathan actually shared. So in just the instructions itself, there's so much like pull in, pull out, this, that. But I guess
I think if you try it out without the manual, it's easier.
Yeah,
those manuals
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, those. I don't know what is wrong with my brain, but I try not to read those manual instructions because they confuse me so much. I'd rather try it out myself without it.
I would actually, gents, I would say have the sales associate do a display in front of you. Yeah. Then you can tell if the sales associate actually know their products or not. Sometimes they're just pushing the sales, but as a consumer, you also would like, could you demonstrate it for me so I don't screw up the mechanism?
But I'm going to defend the sales associate, particularly when they're working in a multi-brand store. To know all the details of all the different watch brands with all the different models is really almost impossible. So if you go to a Hermes boutique, you can assume that they know how to set up this particular Hermes watch. But with those multi-brand stores, it's really difficult.
Fair enough. Yeah, perfectly understand, Jonathan. It's just like if they're strictly selling Hermes, I would hope that they would explain before I screw up the mechanism of the watch.
Yeah. But sometimes I've been working in retail and I was selling watches many years ago, and you have to realize, okay, you guys are interested in one particular watch, and now the internet made it very easy to read up everything about it. But you can't go that deep with all the watches that a multi-brand store really carries. So it's almost impossible to catch up.
Bill is always just probing us for the movement, and it's a Hermes in-house H1837 mechanical self-winding movement with 40 hours power reserve, Bill. So just to confirm that with you.
Overall, I would say I would appreciate this piece. But I guess each of us we learn things a bit differently. Some of us are auditory learners. Some of us are visual. Some are more tactile, more sensory. So I guess for me, I'm more of the one that watch someone do it, demonstrate, and then you follow. Yeah. But overall, I've got to say I'm always up for a challenge. I just want that crown to be bigger and easily accessible. Yeah, because I would say that I would probably encounter what this picture is having, where I feel that the crown is poking me and I'm feeling it a bit small.
If you criticize that crown, I'm waiting what you were gonna tell me about my world timer. I'm gonna be in big trouble, I fear.
No, it's not me. You have to appreciate what you wear. It's not about me. Yes.
Yeah, but Jamie Opulence was brutal in ripping my piece into pieces, and it's gonna happen again. So, but no problem.
As long as Jonathan appreciates what you're wearing.
Yes.
It's like saying, "Oh, I'll wear Calvin Klein underwear," but it's like it's not the same. I like what's the brand? Bedford or something. I prefer Bedford than Calvin Klein because it's very personal. Yeah, I think watches actually are also very personal. Yeah.
Yeah. So move on to VC and the Vacheron Constantin Overseas World Time. This is a 2018 watch. Luxury sports watches are very versatile watches to travel with and are probably the best everyday luxury watch genre. Being good on the beach or in the boardroom. This overseas uses the 2460WT caliber. So that's for you, Bill. It is also the same caliber used in the next watch I will show, the Vacheron Traditional World Time. These two watches are unique in the world time sphere because they indicate time in not just 24 time zones, like most, but 37 time zones, including those that are by a half hour or quarter hour. As per usual, this overseas comes with a steel bracelet, leather strap, and rubber strap, costing €40,000. When it came out, it wasn't cheap, but considering its build quality and movement quality, it was pretty much worth it. For black tie events, a traditional world time is a better bet, though, and that's the one I'll show next. So this one shows 37 different destinations, which is all the ones that come in half hours, and they can be seen in red. I'll see if I can get a better picture. They can be seen in red writing, in the red print, whereas the usual 24 destinations seen in the black print. So, yeah, I don't know what your opinions are on there. We've got a globe in the middle and the hour track on the 24-hour ring on the outside rather than on the inside. What are your opinions on these, guys? Jonathan?
Why do I have to be first? I'm bringing down the mood for a watch. let the other two guys, and then I'm going to rip it in pieces.
Okay, then, Y2K. What do you think? Do you like this one? Sports watch?
How many millimeters is this one?
40...
41?
I don't know. I can't tell
pegging
you.
is a 40 millimeters.
I honestly can't tell you, to be honest with you.
Okay, by my rough, just a look and estimation, it's probably about 40, 41. It's all right, but as I understand that world time is supposed to be a bit more busier dial and full of information, I would say that this is still all right, though.
Yeah.
Though there's always a caveat to it, obviously, which is the crown. Is that I guess this is more of a dressy piece, so the crown they don't want to make it so that it sticks out. Yeah, but my concern would be legibility in terms of telling time. Yeah,
Right.
which is one of the primary concerns I do have for a piece like that. But
Right.
with respect to all Vacheron Constantin fans, I would say if they have other color configurations, I would love to see other color configurations. Yeah.
Abdul, what's your opinion on this?
I actually like this watch in blue. It's a bit big for my size. It's a 43.5, by the way, and 150 meters water resistance. So I actually will go. I'm not a fan of Vacheron Constantin at all. So just to put this out.
Right.
But I think this watch is geared towards people having their private yachts traveling through, let's say, the coast of somewhere. It's good water resistant. You have your world timer on. You can know what time it is wherever you want to go, or if you have a call, if you want to call somebody anywhere, you would know what time it is. And I think for that particular purpose, it's a really nice watch. But other than that, it won't work somehow.
You can change straps to the bracelet, the rubber strap or a
Exactly.
leather strap. Yeah.
But I think the blue one on the rubber, just you can wear it and just live on your boat, and it would be the perfect watch for that.
Yeah. Okay, Jonathan, hit us with it.
Okay, I'm starting, and I'm taking you back like 30 years ago when Vacheron introduced the first overseas. It was like a brick in the stores. Nobody really wanted this kind of design, particularly the design on the bezel. In my opinion, and I'm being bold, just like always. In my opinion, the overseas is only successful because you can't get a Royal Oak or Nautilus. That is the only reason why the overseas is successful. Having said that about the overseas, this world timer is a fucking mess. I would fire the designer immediately. I mean, you have two different information. You have a lot of cities with a lot of little letters, and you have a 24-hour ring which only consists of the digits 1 to 9 and 0. So who in his right mind is putting that simple information outside and the very complex information inside to make it even more confusing and cluttered and terrible and messy and ridiculous? So I don't get. I understand that Vacheron is trying to be different. I totally accept that, but it doesn't really make sense. It's just a mess visually. I give them kudos for the relief of the globe. That looks really nice. But other than that, it's just horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill's saying, where are the numbers? Why are the numbers?
That is in the nature of the hour ring. That happens with most of the world timers. So I'm going to defend Vacheron there. Patek Philippe or any other world timer is no different.
Yeah. But it's a mess, this one.
Yeah.
I actually have to agree that it would be nice if the numbers were facing the right way up. And
well, you can't help down a world timer ring because it rotates, and the numbers at the bottom, the numbers are the right way around. At the top, they're upside down.
Okay. I see.
That ring rotates. If the ring would be static, you would have a point, but that ring rotates.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for those who are very familiar with Vacheron Constantin, educate me. Is this the more latest version, or is it a previous version?
This is a 2018 version.
Okay. So for VC, they have the Heureuse du Monde, yes?
They have the
Does
what,
anybody know the Heureuse du Monde dial, which is the one in blue?
No.
I think Abdul was talking about that one. I actually do fancy that one. Yeah.
Actually, there is a funny comment here in the comments. Bill is asking, why are the numbers upside down? J. Gary Sweater says, because you're in Australia.
Just because he's down under, isn't it?
Okay, then. So we don't like this one. I'll just
No, but Bill is making a comment, and Bill, with all respect, doesn't make sense. Can you go back to the Vacheron? The problem is those two rings, the city ring and the 24-hour ring, are rotating. They are not static. So you can't properly print it. You will always have a situation where it's upside down.
I think the remedy to this is they need to fix the color of the layout of the color to prevent that mess of, yeah, it looks very messy. I like, I wear navy timers, yes, and I agree that it's very busy, but this one, it's like just, normally there's no contrasting color. It's very confusing. Yeah.
But keep in mind, both rings are interdependently rotating. So you can change that inner ring with the cities, you can rotate that, and the ring with those numbers, with those hours, is rotating. So he says it needs on the bottom. The cities on the bottom are correctly, and the cities on the top are upside down. And when you rotate that ring with 180 degrees, they're still on the bottom. We can debate now if the cities on the top must be the other orientation around, but then the cities on the bottom are incorrectly. So no matter what you do.
Yeah, horses for courses. I mean, it's just the way they've laid it out, isn't it? So, but I did want to just show the predecessor to that overseas, which was the dress watch that Vacheron did, which I like this one a lot more than the overseas. And this one's the traditional world time. This is the original, more elegant world timer from Vacheron that covers 37 time zones as well. And since it has a nice engraved gold dial, and the added 13 cities that comprise the 37 time zones that are featured in red print on the city ring. This is the 2015 edition, and came in pink, 18 karat pink gold or 18 karat white gold. And yeah. But I much prefer this one. Again, you may say it's a mess, Jonathan. What do you think?
It's still a mess, but it's much nicer without the overseas case. And Bill, I understand what you mean when we come to Patek and to the BCHH World Timer. It is the way that you wish to be, but then on the bottom they are upside down. So it's tricky. It's not easy.
Hi, CP TWC. Good to see you, my friend.
And I will give it to Vacheron. I think that is also the problem. Patek Philippe is the OG of the world timer. So watch brands are trying to be different, not to one-to-one copy the Patek world timer. And that is why they made that hour ring outside and the city ring inside versus the Patek Philippe, which is the other way around. So I understand what they're trying to achieve, but when it ends in a big mess, it doesn't help anyone.
Yeah. And Bill's saying, "Oh no, more upside down names and numbers."
If this is the color of this VC, I quite like the case and the brown leather straps. And is it gold, like rose gold, or is it gold?
Pink gold, 18 karat pink gold.
Okay, this is a lot better. Yeah, this is a lot better.
A lot nicer than the overseas version. What do you think, Abdul?
Unmute button didn't work. Yeah, I like this more, to be honest. If I'm buying one myself, I would buy this one. The other one, just if you're living on a boat, let's say, and you won't see a lot of people, you're just wearing it if you like it. And this one is more of like an elegant classical dress watch that looks nice, I would say. the brown combination with the pink gold gives it a really nice look.
Yeah. Okay, enough of Vacheron. And we'll move on to my favorite brand of the moment, Breguet, but not my favorite watch that they do. Their world timer, the Breguet Marine 5557 Horology, which is 71,000 Swiss francs. And here we have Breguet's interpretation of a sports watch with in their marine line. The Horology 5557 has an instant time zone jumping mechanism with synchronized date and day-night indications. The dial features a world map against a guilloche sea of choppy waves. The Horology is a GMT watch that lets you switch back and forth between 2 time zones at the push of a trigger. There's a date window at noon and an aperture for the city discs with 24 cities at 6 o'clock. Also, day-night aperture at 4 o'clock. And this watch relies on the essentials hands for local time, but they also indicate reference time on demand. The date window and date night indicator also jump, and you do this by pulling out the crown at 8 o'clock to select your desired city in the city window, and then press the pusher at 8 o'clock, and the complication automatically jumps. Press the pusher again, and you're back to home time. The date also jumps forwards or backwards and accordingly. Available in white or rose gold, the case is 43.9 millimeters and has a 100-meter water resistant. The exhibition case pack displays the caliber 77 F1 automatic movement, and they can be ordered on leather or rubber straps or gold bracelet. So, what do we think to this? Obviously, Bill's going to say, and Mason One are going to say this isn't a true world timer because it hasn't got the city ring, but it's got the, as you can see, the
city selector, I would call it.
City selector at the bottom, and that's the date at the top, isn't it? Yeah. Or is that?
I think.
No,
yeah, I think it's the date. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what do we think of this one, guys, in chat? Have any opinions?
I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. The case, I don't like the case. The dial looks nice, I would say, but other than that, everything else is somehow out of place.
Yeah, I think the Roman numerals make it look a bit odd as well, I think.
So, in my opinion, this is a technical marvel because you can switch between home time and world time very easily with the push of the button. So that is a technical novelty. What is also very special, I think we've been talking about my guilloche lessons in the Breguet boutique, and the engraver told me that this dial is the most complicated one to make. They also offer a standard guilloche dial. What makes it very difficult are those different continents, and the fact that this dial is not flat; it is domed, which makes the guilloche process really difficult, really tricky, with all those different segments. Other than that, I agree with Abdul. It's not from a design point, it's not Breguet's finest hour, but it's an interesting watch from the technology.
Yeah, and Chili says that he thinks it looks like a cheap Easter egg. Oh, Chili,
I will give credit to this Breguet in terms of the switch. You know, the able to change the concept and the innovation of the changing of the cities. But in terms of the other thing, the color the strap is nice, the case is nice. But I think if you want to put Roman numerals, I would scrap the outlining of the Roman numerals text, because it seems the only thing, again, with a lot of watches that's being busy like this level, is always about legibility, which means that your hands will have to be somewhat more prominent, and in this case, the hands are a wee bit too fine, which makes reading it a bit challenging.
Yeah, JPCWC says it's an effing ugly case. It's awful. Case is awful, and the dial isn't much better. Cool idea, but bad execution. Bill says it's a big mess, and Mason's saying if the depiction of the world and the globe lines were muted a bit, it would look better. The moon phase should have been left out. Yeah, it's a bit too cluttered, isn't it? I think this one, and the case. I like some of the Marines, some of the older Marines, but I don't like these new ones with the engraved dials. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on from the Breguet Marine. And on to Maurice Grossman, the Universal Zeit. Now, a brief history. On the 8th of February 1879, due to people travelling further from home on the railways, Scottish-Canadian engineer and inventor Sir Sandford Fleming proposed to divide the world map into segments, each 15 degrees apart, each of the 24 resulting set apart by 1 hour. This was to be the start of a set of agreements that became the standard for time across the world, which was finalised on the 22nd of October 1884, with the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, England, marking the prime meridian. Each time zone would be offset by plus 1 hour towards the east and minus 1 hour towards the west. To do this, to this day, what became known as universal time remains the foundation of international timekeeping. Not long after the introduction of universal time, Maurice Grossman, the watchmaker, travelled from Dresden to Leipzig to give a lecture on this very topic to the Polytechnic Society. The title of his essay was Universal Time and the Introduction of Civilian Life, signifying that this wasn't something that was easily and quickly accepted in everyday life back then. It also represents the introduction of Maurice Grossman's Universal Zeit roughly 140 years later. So back to the watch. It's got a steel case that measures 44.5 millimeters across. A signature Maurice Grossman element is the pusher at 4 o'clock, which resets the second hand and starts it when the crown is pulled out to set the time precisely. The crown at 10 o'clock advances or retracts the hour hand in 1 hour increments. By rotating it clockwise or anti-clockwise, the dial is solid silver with a deep blue colour, and the map of the world is not to scale, but is painted and printed with white meridians and brown land masses. And in 6 positions, the dial reveals a unique hour disc underneath. From left to right, you can see the hour in Phoenix, Rio de Janeiro, Cape Town, Dubai, Singapore, and Tokyo. Although small, the black digits can be read without too much difficulty. Additional printed cities help determine the corresponding time zones between 6 indicated cities. Central or main time is indicated with the center hour, minute, and second hands. And with the 6 time zone holds, if you are in Dubai and this is 2 p.m., you first set the number in the corresponding hold to 14 o'clock. Then, using the pusher at 10, you adjust the time to 2 o'clock. Now the two are aligned. If you then cross a meridian into another time zone, you can just use the pusher at 10 to adjust your local time. So say you go to Singapore, you adjust the hour hand forward by 4 hours, and it will match up to the time zone in Singapore aperture. Simply, there's a disc underneath the dial with the different world times on the advances every hour. And this is a manual one caliber 100-7 inside an exhibition case back, and it's 42,000 euros. So it's quite a lot, this one. And a different way of telling the world time without a city ring, but just different dots. So a different type of world timer. Well, what's our opinions on this? What do you think to this, Abdul? Are you a fan of Morris Grossman?
Big fan of Morris Grossman. I really like what they do. The CEO, she's really knowledgeable. She always has. They don't have the best of luck, let's say, in the market, but she really does her best, in my opinion, at least to always bring a lot of innovative movements and cool watches, and this is one of them. I really like this one. Also appeared in the GPH year, I think, 2022. And when it switches, it's really cool. All the numbers switch at the same time. It looks really nice. I like how they display the whole map on it. And yeah, it's just a nice watch. I don't know what Jonathan would say about it, but I really think this is a very nice way of displaying the time in these cities. Definitely not enough cities, let's say. Too many time zones, exactly. But yeah.
Any thoughts, Y2K?
I do. Okay, first things first. A watch is meant to be legible. Yes. So I like the whole concept of Morris Grossman set up in this way that they've actually put all those numbers up and everything at the different zones and cities. However, this one of all the world times I've seen, I really got to say I have trouble looking at the time, because I don't know how many of you have the same problem that I have. Maybe it's just my eyes, but I just can't really tell the time unless I really look at it carefully. So there's the issue of the contrasting. Now, of course, there is the question whether the movement is good, the concept is good. Now, no argument on the whole concept of different cities with the dates. Are those dates? I believe they should be dates. Yes.
No, hours.
Hours. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. So with the hours, I think it's a great idea. But the fundamental basics of a watch is that you must be able to read the time.
What are you talking about?
What?
the main thing about watches is anglage, movement finishing, escapements, blued hands, inward angles. That is high horology. Who cares about readability? I'm just pulling the leg.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is Jonathan's very simple mind of, oh, watches will be like this, you know. In Jonathan's watch world, Jonathan's watch world is his cardinal rules. Watches must be this, you know. It's like Jonathan will have his own autobahn, and you cannot do this. No, 999. This is how you do it in Germany.
I have my private autobahn. I don't care about speed limits.
Well, then you'll be paying the Polizei a lot of money then. Mr. JQH, do you know that you're driving too fast in this school zone? This is
and I just pull out a monochrome article and ask him, do you know who I am? So, that's how it works.
Brilliant. So what's your opinion on this, Jonathan?
I love Moritz Grossman. I love Christine Hutter. And I feel really sorry to not like this watch.
Yeah.
I think Y2K is dramatizing the contrast issue. I think in real life it's easier to read than on this photo. I think the photo is not really good. I've not seen this particular watch, but I would guess that Christine Hutter and Grossman are smart enough to solve this issue. Seriously talking, I'm not a big fan of those apertures. The same reason why I don't like the Zeitwerk. That is the main reason, and the concept is flawed because, for example, you can't display the time zone for New York because on that circle it only allows you to display Singapore or Phoenix. That is a big rotating disc below that dial, and it has 6 different tracks, and so you're limited in your ability to display different time zones. For the Asian customers, and Moritz Grossmann is very strong in Asia, Tokyo and Singapore and Hong Kong make sense. For someone like me, to me, New York must be on a world time. There is no discussion about it. New York must be on a world timer. So I can't hate Moritz Grossmann. It's fantastic what they do. I give them kudos for the idea, but sorry, I can't love that watch.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And of course, everything that I said Y2K was with tongue in cheek. So don't take that seriously.
When do you not say anything with tongue in cheek?
I was serious. I was serious about Grossmann. What I said now. So.
Okay, truth be told, if any of you audience ever we get to sit down, I would never crap on your timepiece, because I don't know how difficult and how much effort you probably saved up to get your watch. So I solemnly promise I will never hate on your watch. But if you ask me for a watch that's sitting neutrally in a neutral location, I will give you my feedback as I see fit.
Please give me your feedback anytime. Believe me, I'm receiving so much criticism and flack, particularly for the watch that comes later. I don't care. It's not important to me. I'm a very honest person. I give you my honest opinion, no matter if it hurts you, if you like it or not. But the same must apply then for me personally. This is my watch. I like it the way it is. I simply don't care what other people think. That is the truth.
Verstanden, I understand. And I think Bill was Bill actually read my mind. He wrote that they also put a hole through Germany.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Jonathan, you didn't say why is Berlin, of Berlin, Stuttgart or Frankfurt not there?
Not Berlin, Hamburg.
Yeah, the big.
Hamburg then.
The big screw, yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's the Moritz Grossmann. We'll move on to something which I think is absolutely stunning. A work of art. And that was this stunning piece, won the Karavutilinen GQ, 365,000 Swiss francs for this one. This stunning piece won the Artistic Crafts Watch Prize at the 2022 GPHG Awards. A piece of unique limited watch, retailing for 365,000 Swiss francs. It's simply a work of art, and one of the greatest lacquer artists of Japan, Tatsuo Kitamura, creates works of lacquer art that stand the pinnacle of Japanese tradition. It brings a craft that has existed for hundreds of years into the present, exemplifying the passion to preserve the soul, spirit, and identity of traditional Japanese culture as expressed by the Edo period. The superlative work engages immediately on a physical level, and one can only stand in awe at the commitment, patience, and dedication required to create these works of art. The dial shown here, using techniques of lacquering with the Sai Maki and Samata Zeiku, takes several months of work to complete. The raw materials for its creation are gold dust, gold leaf, shell of great green turban, and abalone shell from New Zealand. And the symbiosis of Japanese tradition with the Swiss horology creations of Karavutilinen represents an embracing mechanical watch and visual work of art that unites East and West in perfect harmony. And that's what they were right. I took that from the GPHG script, and they're spot on, I think. It's a manual winding, 60 hours power reserve, 39mm platinum case, and hours, minutes, and world time. Just stunning to look at. I find it absolutely amazing. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Abdul.
Masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. It's just amazing. I love everything about this watch. The lux, the case shape, this masterful art of this Japanese artist in the centerpiece, and it's just dream watch, right? Simple, elegant, and perfect watch in my opinion.
Yeah. What do you think, Y2K? You fan?
I do love it, and one thing is that I do like an artistic watch, yes, and the fact that here, okay, the first things first, things are readable, but the center mass of it, right? I if they ever do advertise this watch, they should play the theme song from Doctor Who, you know, the because it feels like you feels that you're traveling through space. So I really do give credit.
Yeah, you're being absorbed into a
Yes. So I think if they do advertise this and they are spinning the watch, you know, and looking at the, you know, the hands moving, they should really play that signature Doctor Who theme, you know, because it's just amazing. I do quite like a watch like that. That's very, very artistic. Yeah.
Jonathan, what's your opinion?
Standing ovations for this watch, and this watch proves my point and proves Y2K to be wrong. This watch is legible, but it doesn't have to be. Who cares about the time? Just have a look at the dial, how it's made. Yeah. That is true art. That is just insane, that level of detail. And I can promise you one thing. My trip to Geneva, the hotel stay, the overpriced restaurants in Geneva, even the meetup with Swiss, it was all worth alone to see this particular watch in real life. It is so much nicer in real life. You can't imagine how beautiful, how nice that is. Those little pigments of those abalone shells, perfectly put together. It is just a joy. It doesn't matter if you can read the time. It doesn't matter if the world time functions. By the way, Kari Voutilainen made it perfect. He didn't clutter it. It is simply readable, perfect, even on the outside. But that dial is just gorgeous. And that is what those world timers are about. And it all happens in the center. And here everything happens in the center.
Yeah, it's just stunning, isn't it? It really is a work of art, and just like you say, it's an art piece. Who cares about whether it's got numerals on or you can tell the time? It's just you'd be honored to have this watch in your collection if you.
Well, it's a piece of unique.
Yeah, it's a piece unique if you could afford it. You know, or you were allowed to buy it. You know, it'd just be fascinating. You'd be truly honoured to have it. I'll just go to Mason's comment. I wonder if Thomas has the Gladiator Original Senator on the list. No, I don't. I'm afraid, Mason. Possibly the most comprehensive time zone watch with daylight savings and half-quarter time zones. No, sorry, I don't have that on the list, Mason. But back to this, yeah, it's just, I'm in awe of this. It's just an amazing watch. It's stunning. And Bill says, what? It's not about the time? What am I hearing? You're hearing that we can appreciate other things in wristwatches, Bill, apart from time telling. This is just, you can tell the time, but on this, I can tell the time on this. You don't need numerals. You don't need buttons. It's just a stunning work of art. This is true horology by Kari Voutilainen. I've met him myself and seen some of his other watches, the Van Huit and some of the other skeletonized watches that he.
Thomas, did you ask him if he does modules?
I didn't know. No.
You know the story, yeah?
No.
No?
No.
So Tim Wright was on the New York Watch Show, and he saw Kari Voutilainen, and he interviewed him, and Kari was showing him some of the watches, and Tim was asking, "Are you doing modules?" Kari's face. He kept a straight face, but you could sense that he wanted to punch him in the face.
Oh dear me! Oh no! Yeah, no. Kari does amazing movements and just stunning watches, and he's such a nice gentleman to talk to. Told me how he got into watchmaking and how his father had a friend who was a watchmaker, and he got into liked working with his hands, and he started working with his father's friend, and then got into watches, and the rest is all history. You know, it's just amazing, just an amazing watchmaker. One of the best watchmakers out there, as we all know. Yeah, so I'll move on from the the GQ, and we'll get on to Jonathan's territory, which is not Classic's original Mason one, but Lange. And this is a Lange 1 time zone. This is the 2020 upgrade with the new caliber L141.01 manual winding movement with 448 parts. This is a pink gold version with a silver dial. Other versions were made in white gold with a black dial and yellow gold with a champagne dial. The main dial tells the local time and has small seconds. And there's a second time zone displayed on a small dial at 5 o'clock for the home time. The day-night indicators are ring-shaped and positioned on the central axis of both time circles, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The arrow on the small sub-dial points to the respective city on the outer ring. There's also a power reserve at 3 o'clock and the classic big date above it, that at 1:30. To select a city on the outer periphery city ring, there's a push on the case at 8 o'clock, which jumps to the ring from west to east by 1 time zone per push. Every push advances the hour hand on the small dial by 1 hour, and the arrow on the small dial also has a daylight savings indicator on it. If the aperture is red, the city observes daylight savings time, in which case 1 hour has to be added from spring to autumn in the northern hemisphere and from late summer to spring in the southern hemisphere. If standard time applies to the city all year round, the aperture reveals a white background. And this is 49,200 euros for the white or pink gold, or 52,200 euros for the limited edition yellow gold model. And absolutely stunning.
Not anymore. They're far more expensive now.
Really? Yeah. So I'm sure you can tell us a bit more about this, Jonathan.
Well, you told most of it already. So this is not a world timer by definition. This is also you can swivel through the time zones with those two pushers at 8 and 10. So you're moving that city ring outside, and you can then read the time, the local time on that little gold triangle on the dial. Just like you said, that little triangle usually is white. When the zone that you selected has daylight saving times, the aperture turns into red, so you know that you have to add an hour or not. Nothing else to be said. It's a Lange one. It's Lange. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And that small seconds are just
And to make Y2K happy, you can easily read the time on both.
Oh, you don't have to worry about this one,
Okay.
Jonathan. This one gets the my stamp of absolute approval. Yes, having seen this in real life, I would say that this is probably one of the few watches I would say legibility is not an issue. Yeah.
No.
Movement is exquisite.
You know what I wish that they would do the time zone in automatic and not in manual. And I think that is something that they're planning. I have no information about that. I'm totally speculating, but I hope that that they will. You know, they discontinued the automatic Grand Lange. So I hope that they are bringing something new very soon based on an automatic movement.
Yeah. Absolutely stunning watch. Really is. So,
Abdul,
Jamie,
what do you say?
Abdul, yeah, what do you think,
I
Abdul?
love it. I love it. Elan Zone is one of my favorite brands, definitely. And this is definitely having the Lange 1 format, but with more functionality. So it's definitely a winner in my book. And I love the big date. It's one of this stuff that when the more you get older, the more you get to appreciate the big date, because you get to leave it on the table and you can even look, oh, today is the 14th. Okay, good to know. And appointment at 15th, whatever. Yeah, true mode activated. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, Mason. Yeah, absolutely stunning watch. Like you're saying, the Lange 1 is one of the biggest icons of the past 3 decades. Just groundbreaking. Yeah. That big date as well from the Opera House in Dresden. Just inspired.
Yeah, but in the Opera House in Dresden, it shows the time in 5-minute intervals. So that is just the inspiration, and they transferred it into the date display.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So Jamie Opulence has been waiting for this one, and his motto, Patek is
I think
king.
Jamie's not here, so we can skip that.
Well, I'll go through it anyway, because Patek world timers are what spring to mind when a lot of people talk about world time. So with a history spanning over 80 years and their famous Cartier watches, world timers are among Patek Philippe's most popular complications. Patek was the brand to bring back the this type of watch in 2000 with the launch of the 5110. That was replaced in 2006 by the 5130, itself replaced by the 5230 in 2016. And in Watches and Wonders 2022, Patek released 3 world time models: the Blue Guilloche Platinum 5230P, the Cloisonné Enamel White Gold 5231G, and the Rose Gold with Diamond Bezel 5130R-014. I'll just go to those. So first, the Platinum 5230P has a lovely blue guilloche pattern on the center dial, which is hand guilloche. It houses the well-known caliber 240 HU automatic movement featuring an off-center 22 karat gold micro rotor and has 48 hours power reserve. This movement can be admired through its exhibition case back. 30 meters water resistant, although I won't be taking this anywhere near water. And it's 60,000 Swiss francs. Next, we have the White Gold 5231G. and this is the 5230's sibling, and again is fitted with a cloisonné enamel dial depicting Southeast Asia and Oceania. The enamel dials perpetuate another great Patek tradition that goes back to Louis Cartier in the 1930s. It too houses the 240 macro rotor automatic movement with an exhibition case back, also 30 meters of water resistant, and this one is 75,000 Swiss francs. Now, if you want to see,
but you can't get it. You can't get it.
You can't get it.
Jamie's AD told him that in the last 4 years, I think she got one.
Yeah, since 2019, they've only seen one. So if you want another thing on Jonathan's channel, if you want to see the shootout between Jonathan's customized Benjamin Chi and Sven Anderson watch and Jamie's Patek, there's on his channel, on the Swiss and John show, and on the Jonathan Quell Higgins channel, there's a shootout between the two, which is really interesting, really good watch. That's a really good viewing if you want to go and check that out. So that's a really good shootout between the two, the Patek and the Benjamin Chi. So that's really interesting. But also, Patek introduced the rose gold 7130R-014 with diamond bezel. And this is a ladies' world timer. This style has a basket weave motif, hand geared shade, and features 62 diamonds on the bezel. It uses the same caliber 2408U as the others, with an exhibition case back, and the pin buckle has 27 diamonds. All of these models feature a 24-hour ring with day-night indicators and an outer city ring, which is adjusted with a pusher at 10 o'clock. And Patek is often the world timer that springs to mind when you think of the genre. And yeah, quite rightly so, I think. I mean, going back to the white gold one, this one doesn't have Europe on it. It has the Southern Hemisphere with Australia and Oceania.
So here comes the difference between my world timer and this particular world timer. So let's assume Jamie Opulence is located in Marbella and he wants this kind of world timer. What does he do?
Hi, Bobby. Great to see you. Yeah, he'd have to buy the other version that he's got, wouldn't he? In white.
Yeah, but at the moment they're not offering that version.
Are they not?
Oh.
Really? Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he'd be able to read the time on the outer city ring, but he wouldn't have it. He wouldn't have it. His.
But you don't have the emotional connection, and that is a big problem.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. What do you think to the classic Patek, Abdul?
I like it. I just like it from design point of view, from looks. I don't know, the lugs seem a little bit like the classical way of doing them, of welding them on the case. So they are, let's say, historically correct. The enameling in the center is just really nice. If I could get one, I would definitely want to have one with, let's say, Germany or Egypt, or at least from bird's eye view, from global perspective on the dial. But I don't think I'll be able to get one anyways at the moment. So, but really nice watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mason's saying they're different versions of the Patek Cloisonné enamel showing different areas of the world. Fantastic artwork.
Yeah, if you look in the past, that is correct. But as far as I know, I may be corrected by the Patek fanboys. At the moment, there is no dial with Americas and Europe.
Right. Interesting.
Y2K, what do you think of the Patek?
If it wasn't for Jamie visiting Singapore and showing me his world timer and holding it for the first time, and in my world of understanding watches, maybe I'm a bit ignorant. I never really looked into world timers and everything or understood the significance. But thanks to Jamie, when he actually explained to me face to face about how the world timer works, the intricacies of the functions, you're pushing the button and it shifts the cities and all those things. Aside from the functionalities, the features, the one thing I do love about the Patek world timer is always the artwork about in the centerpiece, which is the that particular region that it's covering in the globe. And so for me, I would always have that kind of appreciation. And I don't think that it's because of the Patek itself, but it was actually the people like Jamie who actually own one, and actually used it. They actually give that kind of insight that made me like the piece. It wasn't like the company coming and showcasing how amazing the watch is. It was more like first-hand experience. So I would appreciate, and I would definitely like their world time as well. And their world time is unique, and very iconic. That's the key thing. Yeah. And of course, time, is legible. And it's, especially for the text, if you notice the background of text is very clear. It's not where you're struggling. Like we've seen many world timer watches in this show. The first few pieces we saw, not the first, but there were some that we saw that was just the color config, the contrasting was just wrong. It was just, the hands were just too thin. So at the end of the day, the usability is lost. Yeah. That I would definitely say, people who make great pieces, Patek is one of them. Is one of the brands that actually has done very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas, can you please go back to the Patek Philippe, because I would like to address two things that have been mentioned by Bill and Mason: the orientation of the numbers and the orientation of the cities. So here you can see that the cities on the top are in the correct orientation, and also the numbers on the top are oriented correctly. The backside is, when you look down, they are upside down. So we can argue all day long if this configuration is better or Vacheron. That is what they chose. What is definitely better on the Patek is they chose to have the city ring outside, which gives it a cleaner look compared to the Vacheron mess. What I really love about that Patek are the lugs. I'm a big fan of lugs. So the first thing that I look or check on a watch are the lugs. Those are more or less the historically correct lugs to the 25-23 legendary world timer that Patek made that genre famous. What I really like about that cloisonné enamel centerpiece are the colors. Those are really colorful and artful. The cloisonné borders, may I say, are not as detailed as the ones that you will see a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah, stunning watch. I mean, the enameling, the cloisonné enameling just is amazing. Yeah. So, on to our last piece that we're going to feature, which is Jonathan's piece. Now, I just want to feature the article before I go through some photos that was just launched. If I can just put that in the chat for people to. So that's the monochrome article. If people want to click on that link, they can read it at their will. And this is, yeah, it's amazing. It's an article featured that just came out yesterday about Jonathan's watch, the monochrome article. And but I'll just get off that and go on some photos that I've got lined up. And yeah, so yeah, tell us about this, Jonathan. This is a cloisonné dial being made.
Yes,
So,
that is the making of my cloisonné dial. So we will talk about the possibilities of customization, which is unique or very rare with this kind of watches. But to me, a totally different level is that I'm able to see pictures of my watch in progress. So this is the dial that is at the moment in my watch. I can identify it by several details. It is my dial, and I'm just receiving pictures of how it's done. And I think that is such a nice touch and gives you a total different connection to your personal watch. And I love that watch because it shows how difficult those cloisonné dials are being done. So those little borders is a flat rolled gold wire, and all those shapes are bent by hand, and those are really complicated. If you can see the coastline in Northern Europe, they are really detailed, much more detailed, dare I say, than Patek Philippe. The dial was customized to my requirements. So you can complain about the map all day long, but I asked the company to feature 3 different places that are important to me. They are not important to Y2K. They're not important to Thomas. They are not important to Abdul, but they are important to me.
absolutely.
So the 3 places are Hamburg, Hong Kong, and the beautiful island of Bora Bora. And the main goal was to incorporate those 3 places on the map. And according to those wishes, they created this dial. So I got a sketch, a hand-drawn sketch, where they made a proposal, and it was accepted by me. So don't complain that the Americas are not featured. Don't complain that that South America is not on the map. This is how I wanted it, and there are reasons why I wanted it.
Yeah.
And the reason is not because I don't like America. The reason is I wanted those 3 places on.
Stunning, Jonathan. I think it's absolutely amazing. And you can see in this photo how it's come along, how it's been, it's coming along here. It's more enamel has been added. And
yeah, and that is what I said in that provocative shout out with the Y2K. It doesn't matter if it shows the time. This is a piece of art, and that is why we did that world timer. That is the centerpiece of the watch.
Yeah.
And it's a nice feature then when you can read the time. But this is the artisan.
And he
So,
more
fill me in, Jonathan. So this piece is specially designed and curated for you?
Yes, totally. So it's based on an existing watch, but I said, okay, I want these 3 cities being featured on the dial. I want the continents really bright. I wanted them brighter than they usually do. I wanted to have the Himalaya highlighted in a darker tone. I wanted to have Lake Baikal featured in Russia. So all those wishes have been incorporated in that dial. That is a unique dial. You don't find this type of dial anywhere else. This is my dial.
absolutely stunning, Jonathan. Just the fact that you can customize your own dial. I mean,
yeah, I've been I've been talking about that in the monochrome interview. Lake Baikal is such a nice story. Maybe you can go one back. Yes. So I've seen I've been reading a lot about Lake Baikal. To be full disclosure, the first dial has cracked during printing, so they had to redo the dial. And the owner of Anderson Genève, he called me and he told me, okay, unfortunately your dial is cracked. We have to start all over again. But I will make some improvements. And I told him, what are the improvements? And he told me, you will see. So I can tell you, comparing it from the previous dial, I can see two improvements or three. First of all, the coastlines are more detailed. The second part that you can see is the Caspian Sea. Maybe Thomas, you try to find that, and yeah, that is the Caspian Sea. That was not on the first dial. The other detail is that little croissant, that little island where Bora Bora is. That was not on the first dial. Bora Bora was just a drop in the ocean.
Just there.
So he told me the dial will be better. And then one day I called him and said, could you incorporate Lake Baikal? Because that landmass with Russia and China is really blunt. And he said, let me call them up. And he called me back and said, today's your lucky day because they just started making your dial and Lake Baikal will be on your dial.
Just amazing. What
so
story.
That is level of customer service.
Absolutely fascinating.
Try that with Patek Philippe.
Yeah, exactly. So there we see enameled a bit more, and there we see sort of more finished product. So move on to the watch, and you got there we see the Aventurine city ring.
Yeah, the city ring outside is very special. This is made out of a mineral called aventurine. So it's a true mineral, it's a true stone, and it contains little sparkling particles. So it is not dirt what you see here, those little dots. Those are metallic sparkling particles that light up when you move the watch.
Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, another beautiful idea to have for the customization.
Yeah, and that is the story with Benjamin Chi. Of course, he knows what Patek Philippe is doing, and he loves the cloisonné world timer. But he told me I was trying to make a better watch than Patek Philippe, and I wanted to be different. That is why the continents are not that colorful, because I could have ordered that, but out of respect of the unique design of this particular watch, I didn't want it. I wanted a little bit a lower key approach to it.
Yeah, I mean, do they usually put aventurine dials or aventurine?
The city ring. So this Celestial Voyager, the concept is that it has an aventurine city ring. I know that at the moment they're experimenting with another material, which is very interesting. I'm not able to disclose that. But they're working on it, and the cities on that ring are customized. So, for example, I wanted Hong Kong being on that city ring. Usually, it's Shanghai. My home city of Hamburg is on the very top, underneath the A for Anderson Genève. Usually it's Geneva or Genève. I put GMT UTC instead of London because I have great respect for John Harrison, and I wanted to have Greenwich on this city ring, just as an homage to John Harrison. You can see what we did with Rio de Janeiro, Rio de J. Dot. I explained it earlier why we did that. So there are a lot of choices. Bora Bora is my favorite place on this planet. Wellington was chosen instead of Auckland. Usually they are using Auckland. I've been to Wellington and Auckland. I liked it better in Wellington, so we put Wellington on. Brilliant. And so those are our personal choices. Whether you agree with them or not is not really important to me, because that is my choice. That is my history, my travel history, my dreams of traveling, and yeah, that is then reflected in that watch.
Beautiful. There you see it on the wrist.
Yeah, that is hurtful because we didn't clean this particular watch, and you can see at 2 o'clock there is a massive fingerprint. We didn't really clean it, and I'm a little bit sorry that that is not really so perfect. I was continuously cleaning the watch, but the monochrome editor handled it a lot. I handled it a lot, and so we forgot that. So that is a little bit of a regret.
No, it looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely stunning. I mean, so these are the crowns that Jamie complained about.
Yes. So first of all, those are the lugs. I said it earlier. I'm a lug guy.
Eagle wing lugs.
Yes, and the first thing that I noticed and that made me fall in love with this watch are the lugs. Those lugs are so unique, so different.
Concave lugs, aren't they?
Yes, concave, shaped out, which must be really difficult. And that is the perspective where I fell in love with the watch. And from there on, we started then talking about customization. Beautiful. So there is one crown at 3 o'clock, which carries the A for Anders and Genève. On the other side, at 9 o'clock, there is another crown that incorporates Benjamin Chee's logo. And that with that crown you can adjust the city ring.
Beautiful.
And from the top view you can see those crowns are super slim, super tiny.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is aesthetic reasons. I mentioned it before. If you have the traditional crowns sticking up out on at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, it looks like a Teletubby, and Benjamin Chi tried to avoid it. I admit it is more or less impossible to wind this watch up, and it's very difficult to set because when you pull the crown out, you have to use your fingernails. You can't grab it with your fingers, so it's a little bit tricky from a practical point of view. But that is the price you pay for that cleanness in the design.
Yeah. How long have you had it now then, Jonathan?
I have it now for 4 weeks, I think.
4 weeks, so you've had it a month. So you've been wearing it a lot.
Yes. The first 10 days I wore it, then I stopped wearing it because I knew that I'm going to do the video with Jamie and also the photo session with monochrome, and I didn't want to scratch the watch. Sure, of course, I don't want to scratch my watch, but I know I love my watches. I'm wearing my watches, and they're going to be scratched. And so it now has very tiny scratches, but the first big scratch is just around the corner. It will happen. It will break my heart, but that is part of the enjoyment of wearing such a special watch.
Those lugs are absolutely beautiful, aren't they? You see them there. Absolutely stunning.
So what differentiates for this particular watch from the Patek Philippe that we mentioned earlier? For example, the case is platinum. You don't get a platinum world timer at the moment from Patek Philippe.
No.
Then what else is different? The city ring is made out of aventurine. The Patek Philippe is normally printed. Here the cities are upside on the top and upside down on the bottom. The personalized dial we've been talking about, by the way, there are little gold dots where Hamburg, Hong Kong, and Bora Bora are. Yeah. So you can see that on the map, the little gold dots.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is an idea from me. No, a little bit left. Here it is. And Hong Kong is covered by the minute hand at the moment.
Right. Stunning.
So maybe we turn the watch around, and that is that is, in my opinion, the money shot. And so Anders and Genève and Benjamin Chi, the concept was to have this blue rotor. The rotor is blue gold. It's heat-treated blue gold. That means you have a gold alloy, 21 karat, which has a little bit higher content of iron. And you heat then this rotor up until it turns blue, just like a blued screw, for example. And that is a patented process that only Anderson Genève does. And my requirement was I wanted a different pattern. This is a guilloché pattern on the rotor. Usually they're using a different pattern.
Yeah.
And I wanted a very bright blue. Usually they have a very dark blue. I wanted it bright blue as possible. And I've been in Geneva in November, and I could pick my rotor out of 4 different rotors. So they gave me the chance to pick and choose one of 4.
Gorgeous. I mean, the pattern on the rotor looks amazing.
Yeah, Thomas, the photo is nice. It's the best from the rotor, but Jamie made a video of the rotor in motion. And when you see it in motion, and I have it in the background, maybe you can pull it up. When you see the rotor in motion, you get an idea how the impression changes while the watch is rotated. Can you pull that image up that I have in the background, Thomas? Yeah. Okay, so that is the video from Jamie Opulence, the Duel of the World Timers. I tried to make it a little bit bigger, and just have a look how the pattern changes when the watch is being rotated.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, 1 second. I've been preparing this for so long time, and now 1 second. Okay, here we go.
Stunning.
And there's even more close up. 1 second. Here it is. Oh no, that is a picture. Give me 1 sec. Amateur hour, I apologize. We had a better close-up. Yesterday I found it easy. No. Here it is.
Beautiful.
So you get an idea how that changes when the watch is being moved.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. It's like an Escher sort of print, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always changing, and yeah.
Amazing watch.
So that is in my opinion the highlight of the watch. The other highlight, and that was a very nice touch. I have a love for French Polynesia, and as a special honor or not, they made that movement ring outside. It's usually in white mother of pearl, and they made it in black mother of pearl. So that is like the Tahitian pearls. So even that is customized and not off the rack.
Useful. Yeah, a few more shots of the watch here on the wrist again. And yeah, Jamie just wanted me to show when he did the comparisons together, he was in awe of the clock in Berlin.
Yep.
The world time clock in Berlin.
The world clock in Berlin. Yes, he wanted to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a world time clock in Berlin that Jamie loved. He really liked that. So yeah, that was our World Time escapade. An amazing watch from you, Jonathan. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, wow.
So just what I said earlier, yes, it shows the time, but there are so many artistic details that have been gone into that watch. I have great respect to the people who were working on my ideas to make them true. So something minor, just like how well does it show the time, or how easy is it to be set, is not really relevant to me.
Hi, Nato. Good to see you.
Hey, Nato. Good to see you.
He was in Fairlingham Munted Pub and entered here. Good to see you, my friend.
I have to say to Jonathan that I think it's a blessing that you're able to curate and craft, and in a way dictate how you would like your world timer to look like. And I noticed that your initials are also on the watch as well.
No,
Yeah,
that's
all like
Benjamin
alphabets of
Chee's
the,
initial. Yeah.
Okay.
Not mine.
B. Okay. It looked like a H or something. Or is it
No,
B?
no. Yeah, it is Benjamin Chi. It's a B and C on the crown. You mean, or on that mother of pearl
at
ring?
6 o'clock, somewhere at on the south side of the watch at 6 o'clock, just above the 6 o'clock mark. I think.
Back side or front side?
Front.
Front is
I see
BCHH, Benjamin Chi Haute Horology, it means.
Yeah. Okay, so
By the way,
I have to. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. By the way, Benjamin Chi is such a humble guy. He told me, if you don't want this branding or logo, we can leave it off. And I called him and said, "What are you talking about? I mean, you designed this particular watch. You had the idea to do this kind of thing. Why would I remove you from the dial? This never came to my mind. The basis design, all the great ideas are coming from Benjamin Chi. I only changed details. By the way, I didn't dictate them. I always ask politely, is it possible to do that? What do you think about that idea? So I'm not dictating. I'm trying to convince them of my ideas. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. So apologies, I was interrupting you.
No, it's fine. And I think I noticed that the continents are in a way there's an outline of it. Looks like gold trim,
yes.
Like a very nice little.
Yeah.
Yes. Am I right to say that?
That is hand bent gold. That is pure gold wire, very thin, and they bend it by hand.
So I've got to say that it's a very beautiful watch for sure, and of course when as a consumer you yourself get involved in the design aspects, the aesthetics, the layout, where you want things to be, it has a structure. So of course this piece, I must say, is one of a kind, and it's very beautiful. And no one appreciates, I would say on my own part, no one appreciates good art, especially I always look at very artistic watches like Beauvais and their recital 22nd, the Grand and Miss Audrey Suite, and all of those other watches, especially when the hand painting comes into play. I'm interested to look at the hand painting as well. Some of them have very nice emerald green, and the way that the painting is done. I'm all up for art. But for me, at the very least, you're smart. You still made sure that your watch, the center portion, it's still legible for time. So definitely, yeah, I still give the green light for that. Yeah.
Look, we had a controversial discussion, and if you watched that video, it was a fair point by Jamie. It's very difficult to set, and it's very difficult to wind. Certainly, the Patek Philippe is more practical in that regard. but that is not really important to me. The watch is running. When I don't wear it, I have it on the winder, and so it doesn't stop. I don't have to set it and wind it. I was just trying to make that point.
There was one thing that you said you'd like to loom the underside of the hands, wasn't there?
Yes, that is still something that I don't understand. I asked Anders in Genève if it would be possible to loom the underside of the hands, just like Mondane is doing, and he told me no, it's not possible. What you have to know, or what you have to realize, this watch is a limited edition of 7, so they probably produced 10 sets of hands in total.
Yeah.
So if I'm now coming and say, can we loom the underside of the hand, they cannot take an existing set of hand because that's already painted or coated or whatever. So they have to start all over from scratch with a pair of hand, then paint the underside with loom, coat probably the outer side. So it's a very complicated process. It sounds easy, but in reality it isn't, because then the hand maker says, oh no, I don't want to make only one pair of hands. Minimum order is 10. So this is not as easy as it always sounds, and they were not open to the idea. But that is still in the loop, and probably one day they will make it for me.
What's your opinion, Abdul? How do you like this watch? You fan?
Amazing watch. Amazing watch. It's really nice. Definitely.
Very difficult to understand you, Abdul.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now it's better.
Oh, sorry. Really, really nice watch. I really like that you put so many personal touches in it, that you make it so individual for you, and that's what's collecting all about. If you are able to do something like this, that's, in my opinion, 10 times better than getting a Patek that's very hard to get, or a Vacheron that everybody wants, because this is
Don't tell
watch.
Jamie. Don't tell Jamie that.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. It might not be right, it might not be wrong, but I feel like if I'm able to make a watch that exactly to my liking, the color, the case, the dial, I enjoy it much more. I have my Philippe Kluck. It's a German watchmaker in Berlin, and from a couple of years he had a model called the Sternenhimmel. And I was able to get it with a customized dial, customized engraving. The size was the same case that he had. The movement was the same old movement, but it just felt so much better when I'm wearing this watch, because I chose the exact shade of dial color, the exact paint, the hands, the engraving on the dial. And with that kind of customization that you have here, you must be very satisfied when you look at the watch. And I really like the idea of the loom on the underside of the hands. That would actually give it a really nice look at night. That like indirect light on the map.
Bill's asking me to say that blue and green should never be seen. That's wrong, Bill. It's red and green should never be seen. So blue and green are fine together.
I think Abdul make a good point, and I agree with you. You know, I feel very privileged to own such a piece, which has been created by many people that I really learned to appreciate. Those are nice people and very, very gifted people. Making such a dial is not easy. Making such a rotor is not easy. Making such an Aventurine city ring is not easy. So I feel blessed, even though I paid for it, and I paid a lot. I feel privileged to wear something like that, which is so special and so off the rack of a normal manufacturer in that price range. Additionally, I feel privileged. Thomas just showed the picture of the process of the making of the cloisonné dial. You don't get that from Patek Philippe. Ask, maybe by chance you have a picture of the making of my dial. Can you imagine what kind of reply you get, or what kind of reply you get? Your dial only shows Asia, so maybe you incorporate London. Is that possible? They will tell you politely, but they will tell you no. And so this is just so special to have the ability to customize and to be involved in that process and see the making of such a special piece.
Yeah, stunning watch, Jonathan. Absolutely stunning. I think I agree with that, though. I think to have a customized watch is much better than an off-the-shelf or a high-end watch, which has come with their own sort of standard layout. NATO says Australia looks magnificent. Yeah, certainly does, NATO.
The feeling, to add to it, the feeling of having one that's been actually custom made, it didn't come off an assembly line. It didn't come off just like another piece. It was a very unique piece. So I guess when you do put it on, and when watch aficionados, watch collectors see you on the street, and they're like, "Is that what it is?" But then, you can tell them the story. And I think that it's it's got a very nice story to go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody cares about the watch. Nobody knows it, which is also, this is just a feeling for me. And I'm happy to share it with you guys because you're interested. But let's be real. Nobody knows the maker. Nobody knows this particular watch. And it's not important.
So Y2K, did you want to do an unboxing? Was there an unboxing?
A real quick one, okay? Just
I have to apologize myself.
Yeah.
Mrs. Higgins is asking me for walks in 3 hours, and the sun is almost going down. I must leave as much as I would like to see what Y2K has to show.
Thank you so much for...
You won't miss too much, Jonathan.
I will watch it in the replay, yeah? Congratulations.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you for the information.
So, I'll make it quick. Nothing special, guys. Really. I just bought it for the show. But, yeah. So, here's the bag. Alright. So, here's a quick question for you guys. Since Thomas actually has been bringing up the question about World Timer. So, it got me thinking...
See you, my friend.
Hi, JJ.
So, if you wanted a piece that was inexpensive and you didn't have to break the bank, and those of you who are traveling, who are world timers, and you want to travel without feeling, putting yourself at risk and danger, here are some very simple options. And I actually just got this today. Yeah, so it's a very simple piece, nothing fantastic.
Casio World Timer. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is, I actually am very excited, buy a watch. Wow, very excited. Then I got this one, and I'm like, oh, very excited too. And I think
it's a great watch.
A quick trivia. For those of you who actually are James Bond fans, this piece, I think, if my memory serves me right, actually did appear in one James Bond film. Now, I'm not sure which actor wore it, but I think there was something quite similar to where this portion was actually the radar or something. Yeah. So this piece actually, let me just... I can't remember, but I remember...
Casio Royale, I think.
Yeah, Casio Royale. Good one, not good. So let me just put it on for you guys. So this is actually a very... I was going to get it earlier, but it went out of stock. That's so strange, right? And it went out of stock. So actually, this is how it looks like, yeah.
Great stuff. And such a cheap watch as well. 22...
Ooh, upside down.
About $20, isn't it? £20. That's great.
So
that's great.
Let me see if there's a light switch. Let me just do you guys a quick one. All right. I turn on the light.
Illuminator, yeah.
Okay.
Nice one.
So it's actually very good. Now let's just put it on my wrist. I know you all think that I like heft big watches, so this is how it looks on my wrist. Yeah.
Great watch. Yeah, I had
and
the plastic one, the black one, the black version from it with the rubber strap. Really nice, also.
And okay, and this is another one. Since you're a subject of world time, okay. So you have this is another one. Let me just put on the cushion for you guys so it looks a bit more presentable. Okay, there we go. So there's another option you can go for. Now this is somewhat a lot bigger. Need to focus properly. Now this one actually I've already programmed the 2 time zones above. You've got London and you've got Berlin and you've got Singapore timing. So if you're thinking of your loved ones and you're traveling, straight away you've got you don't have to tune or wind or clicky click. You can actually set all this at home and look at the instructions and you can actually get it all sorted out. And it's got 5 alarms. Okay, you got water resistance up to 100 meters and a 10-year battery life. Yeah. Now I'm going to off the light. All right, so you guys can see again. All right.
Legibility here is number 1.
So you've got, and then you've got a little window here with the globe. All right. Yeah, you can see where you've actually set your Okay, so what's highlighted in terms of the globe is your main time, your home time here. And then those 2 are the other countries that maybe you travel there or you have family. Yeah, so I'm just going to put 2 and 2 together. All right, then you can have a look. Let me just turn this around. So you have choices, ladies and gentlemen. You can either do this one, okay, or you can do this one. Obviously, is a lot bigger. It's huge. Okay, that's the size. All right. All right. Let's get a bit technical. Let me just do my quick measurement with my ruler here. All right. So this one, it's about 1 millimeter only. So this big guy is about 1 millimeter. Right. And this one, it's about 0.9 millimeters. Yeah. So actually, you're not gonna really gonna go wrong with these guys. And let's talk about safety and security. If you're traveling, right, one key thing is that when you're wearing world timers and everything, you won't feel heart pain if you get mugged or robbed and all these things, because you know that you can actually pick this up for easy. Yeah. So these are just some recommendations, and I got this specially today for the show. I couldn't make it start the show earlier because I had to pick it up. My watch shop. Shout out to Timepiece Rob. He knows which watch shop I brought him to. If Timepiece Rob is in the house, I brought him to the watch shop, and this is the watch that my dealer is like, it's in. That's like, let's go. And so they have those in rubber straps for this one, and you can get these in bracelet, and then your watch maker can actually help you tune that. So this one also has a 10-year battery life too. So you're not going to run short of having no batteries or not. Yeah. So yeah. Enjoy the World Time show World Time show today, guys. From Thomas, Abdul, Jonathan, and everyone. And also JCB as well.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed the show, everyone. If you can give us a thumbs up, that'd be great. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And
thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks to Abdul, Y2K, JCB, and both Jonathan Higgins. And we'll hopefully see you in the next one. So
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.